Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR548. It's the WWE Royal Rumble 2025. It's incredible to think that this is the 10th Rumble that we've reviewed on the WNR podcast. But luckily, I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show. It is a fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello. It's going okay. It's a weird Sunday. Waking up and there's loads of discussion about, what's going on with releases and everything like that. So we got a lot to get into.
Without a doubt. But we're going to do the Rumble itself. And this is, I think, your 5th Rumble. So you're old hat at this now.
Oh, wow. I'm a veteran. Let's hope I do better.
You're a vet. I've been in the trenches. That's what you're like right now. So, but hey, you're still here. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, Monty? I'm not going to cheer you up.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm doing good. Again, exciting time of the year as always. The Royal Rumble, like you mentioned, a lot to talk about. But just even around the show, like forget not only the fallout and everything that's happened since, but the show itself had a lot of conversations, and I think that's the beauty of this show, that we get to not only take our time and react to what everybody else got to say, we also can give our thoughts and do that here when we review the show. So it's going to be a good one, I think. This is going to be a fun one. I'm really excited to see how many different opinions we get or how much we all agree on. So this is going to be a very fun show, just like the Royal Rumble always is.
Right, last but by no means least. Well, jump up and down and move it all around. Shake your head to the sound. Put your hand on the ground. Take one step left and one step right. One to the front and one to the side. Clap your hand once and clap your hand twice. And if it looks like this, then you're doing it right. A little bit of Gina in my life. A little bit of Gina by my side. A little bit of Gina's all I need. Little bit of Gina's what I see. A little bit of Gina in the sun. A little bit of Gina all night long. A little bit of Gina, here I am. A little bit of me makes you your man. Huh! Trumpet! It is Gina. How's it going, Gina?
Hello. It's going well. How's it going with you, James? I look forward to this Royal Rumble review.
Well, it's great to have you on board. I'm really excited. It's probably my favourite time of the year. I love the Royal Rumble. I'm sure you're the same.
Same, yeah. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views. It's definitely got nostalgic memories tied to it, but it's also one of the more fun ones because of the stipulations in the Royal Rumbles compared to the other pay-per-views. So always a fun one to review.
Yeah, without that. And of course, that was Mumba number 5, and I changed every name to yours, Gina. And it's just interesting I didn't put Jaxie in there. Anyway,
I just think everyone needs a bit of Gina. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people want. I mean, everybody wants Gina. Well, what a show we have.
All right, James. I think we get it.
What? What? Can I not?
No one,
I mean, come on.
No one.
Yeah. Well, from a point of view. What a show we have. We got the Rumble, as we talk about, but we do have Raw and SmackDown. So we're just going to do the notes quickly. The last Raw on USA and the New Day is over his heels as Jay is a face. Chad beat Otis. The semi-finals for the Intercontinental title. Kai defeated Stark. Valkyrie defeated Sky in a banger. Punk and Rollins faced off. And I start to think they don't like each other. But Monty, maybe for you more than us, this being on the USA and being the last Raw, I mean, why was this such a kind of important moment? Of course, Raw moving to Netflix the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned, I think it's 2 reasons. Like you got like the history that USA Network has had. I know they had a stint from like 01 to like 05 where they were not on USA, but other than that, they've always been in America on the USA Network, and wrestling on Monday Night Raw has always been there. And so you got history on your side. So the first time that WWE will not be on Mondays, will not be featured on that channel, even though I know they're getting SmackDown, it's just, from a history standpoint, it was a big deal. And also, when you think about the fact that, like you mentioned, we're going to Netflix, and for the first time ever, WWE is gonna Raw is gonna not necessarily be, like a regular television show or a regular or on basic cable or whatever. It's gonna be on demand. It's gonna be on Netflix. So it's a lot of excitement because that's just different, and it seems like WWE kind of going along with the times, like a lot of other stuff is with streaming, and so it's exciting times. But like you mentioned, it's just one of those things where another difference, another change. But I think it was a kind of cool way to just kind of celebrate this new era. That it really feels like, I know they've been drilling that in our heads pretty much since Triple H fully took over about a new era. But yeah, doing something this drastic and this different, and you let WWE tell it this groundbreaking, then yeah, man, it definitely feels like a new era when you start doing stuff like that. So yeah, man, it was kind of bitter. I wouldn't say bittersweet, but it was definitely one of those things that make you reflect.
Yeah, without a doubt, especially since the first time since 1993, it's not going to be on the kind of network television. But like I said, SmackDown is, and it's moved to 3-hour format with a blue mat. We saw Cody kicking things off with Drew hugging him and told him he needs to be friends. Jax pinned Naomi to retain her title, but Tiffany got in the ring to celebrate. Suddenly she attacked Jax and the Ray before allowing Blair to hit Jax with KOD. And then Money in the Bank threw Blair out the ring. And now she was officially cashing after what seems like dozens of times, and became the new women's champion. I can't believe we have not covered this on the pod, but Jaxie, this was a nice moment, even though we kind of knew it was coming, and Tiffany Stratton taking that next level.
Yeah, I mean, fair play for taking advantage and waiting for the right time to be able to capitalize off that and ensure you get the win, especially against someone like Nia Jax. I think it's a lot harder to take someone by surprise that way. But yeah, we knew this was coming. Like if Tiffany hadn't actually become the champion, like what would have been that whole build up? What would have been the point of that whole build up? So this is one of those moments where the story pays off, and I think that they did well with it, because this is exactly what I think they needed to do with Tiffany in order to actually showcase her as a big deal. And so far they've gotten it right with her. So I'm excited to see what feud she's going to come into being the champion at this point now. So it's definitely an exciting time, and I think that it was probably a really great move to do that on the first Netflix. Was it done on the first Netflix show?
First SmackDown on USA, which was 3 hours. So.
Okay, yeah, that one. So the first ever 3 hours, you wanna leave it with something big that happened, and a title changeover like this probably is the way to do it. So I thought this was done really well.
Yeah, without a doubt. Speaking of Raw on Netflix, Gina, I mean, Monty and I did speak about it, but what were your general thoughts on the first show on Netflix? Because they made a big deal, but there weren't a lot of wrestling in the end, but more show.
Yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable for sure, and I could tell they obviously wanted to make it feel special as the first show on Netflix, the first Raw. I don't think that we needed as many special guest appearances. It would have been nice, for a wrestling show to actually host more wrestling. There is one particular legend who I don't really want to name because I just don't like him. They didn't need him on there. It actually ruined the first episode, to be honest. So many people were put off just because he was on there. They didn't need his segment. They really didn't. They could have done without, brought somebody else out for that moment, or just, I don't know, had a short match. But aside from that, it was still enjoyable. I still tuned into it. And there were some moments that I still enjoyed. But yeah, to be honest, I'll always remember that first episode because of the amount of booze that he got, rather than the rest of the celebrations for that episode, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. I think it's true. Again, the episode did have a few good points. Like we said, Roman Reigns getting Uda Fowler back, and of course, Rhea Ripley becoming women's champion. But again, like I said, it was kind of ruined.
Rhea with the Undertaker was pretty cool.
Yeah, but I did think he blanked her when he first came out. But then again,
Travis Scott had a blunt.
Yeah. No, I also thought Undertaker blanked her, and I was going to be like, really was that necessary? But at least he didn't at the end.
No. Yeah, good show overall. SmackDown, Heyman announced reigns for the Rumble. LA Knight Nakamura ended in a DQ thanks to Fatu. Bayley became number one contender. The main event saw Jimmy and Cody team up to lose to Fatu and Tonga. And KO and Rose end up crashing through a table while fighting near the stage. Does happen. On to Raw. This may be the hardest Rumble to call ever. And the lineup is rivaling 2002. Monty, I don't want to sound like an old man here, but with Punk and Seth and Drew all in on top of John Cena and everybody else involved, this was legitimately such a difficult Rumble and really just top tier.
Yeah, man. Like you mentioned, it definitely gave off the old vibes of just not feeling like you had like a chosen one type of deal. It just felt like, as much as I loved last year's Rumble or even the one before that with Cody, it felt like since Cody was in it, he was like the favorite beyond, especially last year. He had to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, because of what we all was expecting from Mania. This time, like you said, it's just wide open. You know, we're not really sure exactly what direction we're gonna go, and you have so many former world champions and contenders and people who have been around the world title that was in this match, and it just made it tough. And I think that's, especially when you come from our point of view and trying to predict it. I don't think we've had anything that was as hard to predict as this male's Royal Rumble. But just like the Royal Rumble in general, in a lot of ways, from both the Royal Rumbles, in my opinion, kind of had this. But the men's, you're 100% right. It just felt like you could have went so many different ways, and you could have explained it in your head why it made sense for that guy to win it. So, yeah, man, this is just one of the best built, I think, Royal Rumbles that I've had. Like you mentioned, probably going all the way back to those days of the Attitude Era. So, yeah, it's very, very exciting when you think about it that way.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, Jay wants the easier route, so he challenged Gunther for Saturday night's main event. The Ring General's an afterthought at the moment, but it makes me think he's going to have a long reign. IC tournament final, Lyra beat Dakota Kai. Jaxie, you were not happy about this result, and I love Lyra.
No, do you know what? Don't get me wrong. First of all, can I just quickly point out? I do not mind Lyra at all. I just felt like this was the wrong decision. I felt like I feel like Dakota's been through an up and down journey, and I just felt like, in terms of who deserved it right there and then at that moment, I just felt like Dakota probably had earned that opportunity to become first ever. But I don't dislike Lyra. I just think it was the wrong decision to have her be the winner first. I would have personally made Dakota the first winner. But again, whether or not that was down to injury, whether or not it was just an overall decision, I don't think it was necessarily a bad one. I just think it was the wrong one, in my opinion. But that, again, is my opinion.
That's fine. That's fine. You hate Lyra. I hear you. Penta made his debut on Raw. He beat Chad Gable. Gina, what did you think of the presentation of Penta in his debut and, what we've seen since?
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm really happy. The crowd really seemed excited to see him when his music dropped and he came out. So yeah, I definitely think it's been, a nice welcoming for him. It is a little bittersweet because I feel like the pop would have been that much more bigger if his brother was with him as well. Unfortunately, he's not able to because he's still tied into contracts at the other company. But either way, it's still nice to see Penta back on our screens, whether it's in a WWE or AEW setting. I've always enjoyed Penta, and I think he puts on great matches. So I think he's going to slot in well with some of the other people they've got on the roster right now for Penta to go against. I'm super excited to see it. So
yeah, and it's not a shot at AEW, but it's amazing how AEW wrestlers come over to WWE, even with the WWE presentation aspect, just look like bigger stars instantly,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to say it's reminiscent to Jade's entrance because that was completely different. But I definitely still feel like the elevation and the hype was already there for them, Yeah,
without doubt. Well, the man bun has been killing it backstage. Nia Jax and Bayley want Ripley. Priest beat Balor to end their feud in a great street fight. On to SmackDown. I just don't like the 3-hour format. There's not enough happening. Solo didn't say anything. Fatu and Braun had another face-off. Ray and Cody saved him after. Mysterio announced himself for the Rumble. And then Tiff versus Bayley. Monty, it's boring, man. I mean, I understand why it's gone 3 hours. But again, there's just no flow, even though Raw had it, which is quite weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to add. I mean, it's just one of those things to where you would think theoretically it makes sense, but I think right now the focus is just not really put on enough. Maybe in due time they get a rhythm and actually start, booking things in a certain way. But I think that's probably the most interesting point, is like you mentioned, is that it seemed like they had really found a good formula on Raw. So it seemed like why is it having such a tough time to translate over to SmackDown? So it's really interesting. I don't mind. I think as the weeks have went on, it's getting a little better in spaces. But yeah, man, it's just tough. I'm not gonna lie. So far it's been tough. I don't know what their plan is to freshen it up, or like you mentioned, kind of give more activity throughout the night, because I think that's kind of the thing we're all now noticing. It's just like you said, it's parts of the show where it's like it feels like nothing is going on. It's just padding time, or here we go, another advertisement. So hopefully they'll figure something out and get that formula right, kind of like they started to do with Raw. But so far, it hasn't been the best stuff.
Now, on to Raw. Jax attacked Ripley. Wade was fiddling for Pat, which made me think the Corey thing is not a work. Kofi back in action as a heel, and of course, he lost to Rey Mysterio. JBL has been everywhere, weirdly enough. Penta beat Dunn. Do love his pyro. Red Pro was mentioned as well. Now, Jax was the first heel to win on Netflix when she beat Bayley. Owens asked Sammy for help. They could main event WrestleMania together. CM Punk is on fire, brother. And only The Miz has a worse win-loss record than Drew. He lost to Rollins, but Zayn got involved, stirring the pot. Jaxie, again, this is what's been quite good on Raw recently. The interactions with Sami Zayn. And, of course, now Kevin Owens chucked in there with Seth Rollins. And it's like, who's going to do what? It's always good with questions.
Yeah. I definitely. I think we'll touch on this subject, especially going into the pay-per-view. But it's an exciting time in terms of it's an exciting time for new friendships, new relationships, new factions to sort of congregate together. Like I must admit, there's a little bit more intrigue behind Karrion Kross, and what he's trying to do, sort of like with Sammy at this point in time. Like I just find myself going all protective mode, like wanting to know what his end game is, with Sammy. And you can just slowly but surely start to see sort of self-doubt really creeping in again on Sammy, on all things, Again, this is something we'll bring up a little bit later with the Royal Rumble, and something I'll touch up on again. Like kind of going past the Royal and Rumble and into like kind of what we might see coming in the future. There's like some potential hindsight. There's seeds being laid, So I'm intrigued to see where Sammy's story goes from here, because it seems like that he's got a lot of parties interested, and I'm just not sure where he's going to align himself at this point, Yeah,
that's true. On to SmackDown. Matthew McConaughey and Owens got into it. Miz and Damian Priest both moved to SmackDown, with Damo beating Mello. But the main thing is, Gina, is that Owens' T-shirt game is on point. And it has been since he's turned heel. Whether it will be Naomi or mocking Cody's dad, it's just great at this moment in time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure about the numbers in terms of like T-shirt sales since he's been doing this, but every time I see him in a new T-shirt, I want it. So it works.
It's true. On to Saturday night's main event at San Antonio, Texas, January 25th. We're not going to do predictions because, WWE doesn't care really. $1 Million Man was backstage with Jesse on commentary. Same old style and the presentation. Rhea Ripley retained versus Nia Jax. It'd be interesting to see what Jax ends up doing, if not the champion anymore. Monty, again, Nia Jax delivering an entertaining performance of Rhea Ripley being the killer we know she is.
Yeah, man. I mean, their chemistry is off the meter. I mean, I think they've already proven it in the past. This was just kind of like a reiteration of that. But, Nia Jax looked great. The crowd really wanted Nia Jax to pull off. I mean, not Nia Jax. They wanted Rhea to pull off the victory. And you could just kind of tell that, again, they just kind of flow really well together. I don't know if it's just a style thing or if it just have more so to do with how they both have been presented. I think if we pretty much outside of Liv toward the end of her run, nobody has been presented as more consistently a threat than these two women. So having them go against each other for a women's title match and watching them go out there and just do what they do, and like I said, just have everybody excited to kind of sit through the match and see what happens, even though I think we all in the back of our mind expected Mommy to retain. For them to still go out there and have people into it like that, I thought was a testament to just how good they both are and how great their chemistry has become. So this is really good stuff, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. Up next, Sheamus came up short versus Braun. Sheamus has signed a 5-year deal, so he will win the IC title at some point, but not for the first time tonight. This is the first time I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again later as well. What a spear Jaxie by Braun on Sheamus. And again, another really entertaining, hard-hitting match.
Again, he's really showing us like his talent and what he can do. I can really see him going far and just, one day being sort of like a showstopper. His moves are powerful and incredible to see. And him and Sheamus work really well together. I really wouldn't mind if we end up seeing like yet another like feud happen between them like halfway through the year. They're the type of two guys that you just know that you're going to get a decent match out of. So definitely something that I feel like they'll have to revisit again soon, because Sheamus just doesn't work badly with anyone. And if anything, he just made Braun look so good with that spear, taking that spear the way he did. But we'll talk more about that and the impact that it had as well coming up.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels oversaw the contract signing between Owens and Rhodes. Rhodes signed, but KO wanted to get something with his chest first. Took offense to Rhodes saying he always took the easy way out. Both men hung their belts, as you do before a ladder match, even though it's not in the same arena. But hey, don't worry about it. Owens attacked Rhodes and tried to hit Shawn Michaels with a pile driver. Rose hit him with a super kick, and then Shawn Michaels hit sweet chin music to send him out of the ring. Gina, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Anybody but Kevin Owens, I don't think, can get away with being hit with a super kick by Shawn Michaels.
I mean, for me, this was all done just for a bit of a novelty at the fact that Shawn Michaels was out in the ring, and they wanted to just showcase it again. But it's really hard because I just don't think they should have done this to Kevin Owens. They should have let him go into the Rumble looking like super strong. And don't get me wrong, I know that just one super kick is not enough to take Owens out of the match for the next night. But still, I don't know. I think they just shouldn't have done that in my eyes. I mean, if anything, like they should have just had someone stupid come out and piss Shawn Michaels off and he give them the sweet chin.
Where's Grayson Waller when you need him? Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say him or Theory, because right now they are the ones who kind of do the novelty celebrity sort of guest thingies and get punched by them sort of, I just didn't think that. I don't think it weakened Kevin Owens in the slightest, but for me personally, I don't think they should have done that to Kevin Owens ahead of the Rumble, Yeah, I just thought it was a bit cheap, to be honest.
Without doubt. And also a little bit cheap as well was maybe the DQ finish in the Jacob Fatu Braun Strowman match. I'm sure they meet again, Monty, but Jacob Fatu, I don't know if it's Braun bringing out the monster in other wrestlers, but again, Jacob just looked like a killer.
I think it helps because we all know Braun is, we know what he's supposed to be. We know his reputation. He's the monster. So his reputation and how he looks going to make anybody who can stand up to him like Bronson did and now Jacob it's going to make them look even badder than they already look. But every time Jacob's on the screen, he commands your attention, and he does something that is just like unbelievable. And I think a lot of that has to do with just his raw talent and raw ability. You know, even somebody like me who was a fan of Jacob in MLW and in prior promotions for years and knew that he would be great in WWE, to see how everybody else is gravitating to him and just how big of a star he could possibly be is even shocking to me, even though, like I said, I knew how good he was. So stuff like this, you would like Jacob to go ahead and get the victory, but, you know, I think we all can kind of see that they're probably going to keep this going on for a while, at least until the Jacob finally is able to put him down. I get maybe not wanting to get Braun put down immediately, because before this feud, the last thing we remember him doing is basically getting put down by Bronson Reed, even if, you know, but he kind of won that feud, right? Yeah, now that I think about it, the way self-help Bronson, he kind of won that feud. Yeah, so he kind of won that feud somehow. So
what the fuck you talking about?
Like it. It didn't feel like it, though. Like, it felt like he lost that feud because what you remember is how good Bronson Reed looked and how Bronson Reed feels coming away from that feud. So, you know, maybe we'll have another one of them situations, but I don't think this time Braun's going to win the feud. I think Jacob's going to definitely end up standing tall by the end of it. But this is definitely improving his profile and making, like you mentioned, Jacob look like a killer.
Yeah, without doubt. And then in the main event, Gunther retained versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso has come up short against Gunther a few times. Maybe we should just leave it. I did write this beforehand, I should let you know. I mean, Jackson, what are your thoughts on this? Because at one point, though, it looked like Jey was going to get the job done.
I mean, you can hear everyone behind him and wanting that win, that moment for Jey, can't you? And I felt like, you know, the win was within his grasp, and yet it was still just like too far to reach almost. And I feel like that is exactly what Gunther is trying to like talk about at the moment in expressing himself to be leagues apart from wrestlers. And again, I don't know if I necessarily would have wanted Gunther to like have picked up a loss like already right now, you know. Being this hot going into Royal Rumble, you kind of don't want that coming out of any of your champions, do you, really? But I'm glad that I feel like, you know, they're giving a lot more time for Gunther being the champion to like actually even do promos and stuff like that. Like, they need to be like consistently like that, because when he first became champion, like, it was quite relatively quiet. But they've picked up on that now, and they're you know, doing their best to make sure that he is given ample like screen time. But I'm really just loving that at the moment.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem, like you said, about the first couple of episodes. You wouldn't know Gunther was world champion.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
So now it's
exactly.
Right.
It's nice that they're giving him the time now, but like, you know, again, for the past few weeks, like, it's been really radio silent from him, and it's like, have we only got Cody as a champion? No, we don't. You know, so yeah. I'm glad that they changed up the screen time, but, you know, hopefully it sticks and it's consistent.
Right, now on to Raw. Seth and Gunther had a chinwag. Devlin, and he broke his neck, but he did puncture his lung and finish the match. Gina, how could this possibly happen in this day and age? I mean, just stop the damn match, you know? I mean, and the replays were just sickening as well.
Yeah, to be honest, I couldn't. I felt so uncomfortable the rest of the match because I could not take my eyes off of him, and I was worried. You could tell he was disoriented. I just don't understand how they kept the match going, to be honest. And it's not like they had the ending of the match happen straight after. Like, I swear he went on for another good like 10 minutes or so before the match actually ended.
And he was still taking like really like big bumps too. Yeah, I was like
taking bumps. Well, I could tell like Dominic kept trying to like check in on him and stuff, which was obviously good, but I do still think that they should have ended the match when you find out like the extent of his injuries after. You're like, how the hell did he actually continue the rest of that match? You know?
Yeah, no, it was actually scary. You know, you don't see it that often now, but hopefully he makes a full recovery. Xavier Woods' family are not interested in him. Same with Kofi. Jay entered the Rumble. Drew and Paul had a chat. Drew said he's the daddy of the bloodline. as he indirectly led to the faction's formations by beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36. All right, Drew, I'll still buy it, son. He beat Zayn, so, one thing I've noticed as well about Drew's trunks, all right? Blue he wins, green he loses. That's what I've noticed, so we'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye closely on his trunks just for everybody at home. After the match, McIntyre attacked Zayn, only for Cody Rhodes to make the save, but he still got caught with a Luva kick from Zayn after a sneak attack from Kevin Owens. Cody still did a promo, and CM Punk came out, and we continued, but there was a lot going on, Monty, to end Raw, but still quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it was, I wouldn't say confusing. It was just like one of those hectic. It kind of gives you vibes of back in the day. Again, another kind of like back in the day reference to how you can have 10 different things going on, even though it makes sense, even though it's only involving 3 or 4 guys. And it all made sense because they were advancing angles. And I thought the promo segment at the end, even though it was kind of, again, one of those things where you can kind of tell the crowd had been kind of through for so many loops. Like, oh, we're going to talk after all of that we just saw. I think that was kind of the thing. But I thought the promo itself was pretty great. The back and forth between Punk and kind of acknowledging their past, and CM Punk kind of doing like, I'm the type of friend that's going to stab you in the front instead of being like everybody else and doing it, from behind with Cody. And I just what I like the most about this, and this is something that's subtle that I don't know if anybody really be catching, but Cody was so great in that segment because you can see being champion this is what he wanted. He wanted to be champion. He wanted to be on top of the mountain, and he's cracking a little bit. Not to say he can't handle it, but losing friends and just the way things have kind of turned out for Cody along this run, you can kind of see that it's taking a toll on him, and he's not that confident, champion, and that he was at the beginning of the run. He's definitely not who he was when he was on the chase. And I do love that storytelling that the title is changing people. Same thing with, if you really think about Roman kind of opened up in an interview about, what the tribal chief kind of was all about. And it was basically his mentality of that everybody else is screwed now because I'm ready. And, at first, if you think about Roman in the post-Shield when he was still a babyface, when he was with Jay, he was with the bloodline then. They wasn't really a faction, but they were all family, and everybody knew that. And he treated them like that. But as that run went longer, that's when you started to manipulate the people around you. That's when, whatever. So what do you do as that title changes you? And I just think that's a beautiful storytelling element, because even Punk leaned into it with his long run and how he changed. The summer when he became champion at the beginning, everybody loved him. He was a revolutionary. But by the end of that run, he was burnt out with the company, and he turned heel and all that. So again, it's just so many layers to that, and I just think that's a genius way to kind of depict what being on top can do to somebody, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. And exactly the same as Raw was last year before the Rumble, with Cody and Punk facing off this time, of course, in different positions. Let's hope they do it next year for 3P. On to SmackDown, Punk interrupted Kevin Owens. It's interesting considering the history between both. Priest and Fatu had a go at each other, leading to a tag team main event with Knight and Tama. The SmackDown tag scene is heating up if Pretty Deadly can grow a set. Yes, boy. Apart from that, not much else. Jack, see, we've talked about it. There's kind of 3 hours of SmackDown, but nothing really happened.
You know what? I really don't think it was it's necessary. I really don't think the 3 hours is necessary. Really, really. It does feel like they've given an extra hour for us to have more pointless backstage promos that don't really amount or lead to anything. So I mean, personally, I do love wrestling. I love wrestling, but I didn't need an extra hour of it. I really didn't. Just making things harder.
Well, like I said, extra ad breaks as well. And
exactly.
Of course,
yeah.
Only 4 matches in 3 hours, and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me?
It'll be different if they use their mid-card division too. That's another thing that need to change. If you're gonna do this, then actually build a mid-card division so we can be interested in more people. You have these new titles. Meechin can't be the only person who care about Chelsea belt right now. You know what I mean? Like we gotta do something, in my opinion, if you're gonna have all this extra time, and that may freshen it up if you just build more around more people. I thought that was the thought process behind it, but so far it's not.
Yeah. Well, on to kickoff, and one thing I miss about the network is having to navigate YouTube and its ads just to watch kickoffs and pre-shows. It does my fucking head in. Like, don't show me a trailer of fucking Rumble. I'm gonna try and watch it. I'm trying to get through it. Breathe. Cole in Indianapolis. That's not easy to say. Pat was there. Tyrese Halliburton. Auntie. Is that someone I should know?
He's an NBA player. He played for the Indiana Pacers. That's about it.
Right. Cool. Triple H talks about his Hall of Fame surprise. Gina, do we really believe that Triple H, who runs everything, did not know about this Hall of Fame induction by like Undertaker and Shawn? I mean, we can believe it, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Thank you very much.
He did a vlog, so if he didn't know, he really asked him, because in that vlog they surprised him. Like, he didn't even know Stephanie was coming that day. So he say. So
I've seen him
tried
do
to
Katie
make it
Vick,
seem like
so
anyway.
he can act. You know, we've seen Katie Vick, so
He had an inclination. He had to.
He's like, we need someone really big. Who
blame it on Nick Khan.
Blame it on Nick Khan. His partner.
Yeah, Nick told him to do it.
Yeah, it's my partner. It's my right-hand man. He completes me. Anyway, Rey Mysterio showed up on kickoff. He's got no chance. Surprisingly, he mentions Eddie. Look, mate, he won you one. He's not going to win you another one, all right? CM Punk next, not in a suit. Again, I'm starting to think, oh, that's slipped now. Used to be in a suit for all the kickoffs, and now it's just laziness, and I'm just thinking, oh, maybe. Sami Zayn tried to stir the pot with Drew by wearing a horrible fucking T-shirt. Drew rightfully interrupted. Cole points out Drew is 11-0 versus Sami. Nice. Bayley, then Naomi and Belair. Now, Jax had a few haters. Liv and Raquel. They kept mentioning Liv as runner-up 2 years in a row, so you knew it was going to happen this year. And Cody finished the show surfing with Cole. I mean, Monty, this is just WWE just going, look at us. Look how many people we can get for like a free event. Because, again, not a lot happens.
I mean, I want to do this thing. I want to do these pre-shows that do they actually lead to last-minute subscriptions or anything? Like, are they doing something we don't know about? Because I've been telling you for a long time you wasting your time watching them. So, but yeah,
Rosenberg's on. Quick, we have to get the pay-per-view.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, do they actually get last-minute people subscribing to Netflix or Peacock and over here? Do they actually get that? And that's why they still do it? Or like you mentioned, it's just, let's just show off all the things that we can do for no apparent reason other than to show it off.
Well, we had the pre-show, which was cold again, 2 hours again inside the stadium. Pat with Wade, Byron Saxton and Kathy Kelly just wandering around. Big E showing Rumble clips, and so was Wade. Rosenberg's Rumble walk met Mello. We had cards. We had Joe replace Big E. Apparently, Pat is the reason the Rumble is here, so he's to blame. There was an interesting Punk interview where he talks about the lawsuit. Jackie was then host. Gunther says Cody is the one people will pick. All right, Gunther, there you go. Miz seems confident. He's had more airtime than the Wyatt Six recently. Bubba Ray joins the panel. LFG looked all right, but I won't get it here, so what's the point? And then we get a nice history lesson with Pat Patterson. Again, not worth 2 hours, but I'll do it. I'll do it for the team. We get the national anthem, Lainey Gardiner. Nice rendition, I suppose. And then the first PLE on Netflix, February 1st, the 38th Royal Rumble. Steph is in the house, and of course she is responsible for women's wrestling. I don't know if anybody knew that, but if it wasn't for her, there wouldn't be women's wrestling in WWE. The Rumble kicks us off, and we have predictions.
Let's just take a moment for Steph. Take a moment for Steph.
Yeah, pouring
so
out
much
Steph.
Steph.
Oh, God, what would we do? WNR Prediction League, of course, 2025. We've got 3 prediction leagues, the WWE, AEW, and the bonus league. We did Wrestle Kingdom and Dynasty, so the bonus league at the moment is I'm on 2, Monty's on 1, Gina Jaxie on 0, and of course WWE and AEW yet to score. We also have Rumble mini games, which we'll do after. But Jaxie, it is fair to say the setting was incredible. You know, with the growth we've seen even together on this podcast from WWE now, being able to have a sellout stadium show just for the Royal Rumble.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of excitement going into it. I think including the fact that, you know, we had an earlier start time, which was awesome. I didn't actually think that it was going to be starting as early as it did. So I was not complaining, especially, you know, being based in the UK. That was much better for us.
Yeah, well, about 11 p.m. start. So let's begin then for the Women's Royal Rumble. Number 1 was Io. Number 2 was Liv Morgan. And number 3 was Roxanne Perez. Yes, boy. It's her third Rumble at 23. Gina, do you think Roxanne could actually get 20 Rumbles under her belt? Do you know what I mean? 3 Rumbles at 23. That's incredible.
It is really incredible for her age. I would definitely love for her to be the first female to ever get a stat like that, 20 Rumbles with WWE. You know, that would be amazing for her.
Really good stuff. Number 4, IC champ Lyra, who should have maybe got a bigger reaction. Cole and Pat's wooing was off, and Lyra had problems with her outfit.
I would have. Just saying.
Yeah, she had problems with her outfit. I mean, Kai might have had if she was in the match. You wouldn't know. Number 5, the crowd favourite, our favourite, and our US champ, of course, Chelsea Green. B-Fab at 6. Good for her. Monty, there was an infographic telling us facts. I wasn't sure about it because I don't like change. What's your thoughts?
It was awkward, but you know, by the end, by the males Royal Rumble, I kind of got used to it. I was lucky. I was with other people who don't watch wrestling, watching the males Royal Rumble, and it helped them. So I think for like casuals, for people who are not weirdos like you, James, who watch who just watch wrestling every day of their life.
Myself,
it worked out. It worked out for them. Yeah, for people like that.
I had to back that up. I had to back that up, Monty. Exactly what you're saying. Like, I think it really helps because, again, my sister and I stream. We've been talking a lot about, you know, like the build up of the Royal Rumble, and some people checked it out and they actually didn't know who any of these superstars were, but said that the fact sheets helped.
Yeah, man, it gave like names. It said like, you know, what countries where they're from, and it gave little factoids about them, and it really helped for people who may not watch all the time or haven't watched in a while. So from that point of view, it was great. I understand what you're saying though, Jane, because at first it was like, what the hell is this? Why is this not off my screen? And it kind of reminded me of like I watch a lot of American football. Obviously, I'm the American here, so I watch a lot of that, and it reminded me of a scorecard, like when you're watching the score, and then they just have it at the bottom of the screen, and they got little information and stuff like that, other team records and all of that. So it kind of reminded me of those tickers. So I kind of got that, but yeah, at first it was weird, but as the night went on, I got used to it, and since I was watching it with other people, and I saw how helpful it was in that respect, I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, well, I was watching alone. Anywho, no eliminations yet. Number 7 was Ivy Nile. She hit a double German on Green and Rocks. Number 8 was Zoe Stark. Lash Legend at 9. My opinion has changed a lot. B-Fab was the first eliminated by Chelsea Green. Number 10 and a third of the way through, Bianca Belair. She heated things up and she took levels above some in there. But Gene, I think I was a little bit worried because of Blair. I was like, well, that's a little bit early, but still manageable.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes at this point, again, I was assuming that maybe Jade was going to be the last one to come out. So I thought, right, this is really early. So Belair must be going for the Iron Woman, because if Jade's coming out, I'm expecting her to still be in the ring. So my mind is going in overdrive at this point when she's coming out this early. So, but I still wasn't mad at it because you could hear the crowd were excited to just, see Bianca come out.
Yeah, without doubt. Number 11 was Baszler. Start missed a dropkick, but hit a clothesline. Ivy eliminated Lyra. That was actually quite a nice surprise. Bayley at 12. She, of course, won last year. Bayley and Io faced off. 13. Unlucky for some, it was Sonya Deville. It was unlucky for her. But Pure Fusion was a whole collective in the match. Number 14, Maxine Dupree. She took out Ivy. Then Pure Fusion took out Dupree. She was in there for far too long. All right. 15, Halfway there, and Naomi. Pure Fusion were dumped out by the faces. Jaxie, again, Baszler getting disrespected. Even how many eliminations has she had?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did. I made a small comment about this. We're just never gonna get her back to that first initial
Give
like
it up.
like hype. Yeah, we're not getting back there again, are we, Monty? And it's just so sad because you know what, with Ronda gone and everything, we really do need like some other sort of like big bully powerhouse type. And Shayna is that type on paper, but all they've done is just completely bury the woman. It's very incredibly sad. It's very sad to see.
I liked it. 16, Jada Parker. Monty, it was good to see her.
Her theme song sucks, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, without a doubt. Most of the theme songs suck, I'm not going to lie, you know. Green dumped Lash Out.
Yeah.
I was trying to compose myself for a nice way of saying it. Number 17 was Piper Niven. Green was hilarious here. Piper accidentally eliminated Chelsea, but I mean, Gino, I'll go to you because I know Jack's still upset. How good was Chelsea Green in this Rumble? Not only the action, but just the interactions and everything she did.
I mean, at this point, I would have let Chelsea Green win it. I would have radioed to all the rest, go and whisper into every wrestler's ear, Chelsea's winning it. She was just star quality throughout this whole thing.
I would have. I'd rather.
Exactly.
Yeah, called an audible. Just be like, let her win. Let her win.
Yeah, just let her win. She's just brilliant. This whole Rumble. She made the Rumble more entertaining, if you ask me. So I definitely would have missed her if she was not involved in the Rumble.
Well, this is a great thing, isn't it?
Black Girl Magic section, and then she just thought to get herself involved was probably one of the best moments ever.
Well, that's the hopeful thing as well. Next year, even bigger part. And yes, she actually may win one of these one day. And imagine the reaction if it was to happen. Somebody that won't was number 18, was Natalya. But only her and Liv have been in all 8. And Jackson, that's an incredible stat. 8 Rumbles, but only 2 women have been in all 8.
Oh.
We didn't think there was that much change.
Oh my gosh. No, definitely not. And this is definitely, I made a lot of that has definitely got to be, you know, sort of plagued with like injury. As to, you know, reasons why a lot, only two women have so far been through it. But also, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't remember even seeing Natalya get eliminated. I don't even know who eliminated her and how long she lasted. Like it was, yeah.
Don't worry, I've got all the eliminations.
Please do let us know. But yeah, she didn't have a memorable run in this one for me, I don't think.
No, without a doubt. Someone that did, though, number 19. And what a pop for Jordynne Grace. Officially signed. She took out Parker, hit an incredible Rolling Fireman's carry. This was just unbelievable. Naomi and Grace embraced, only for Belair to pull Jordan off. I loved that moment. But Monty, you know I was just jumping up and down when Grace showed out. And what a reaction as well.
Can I just squeeze in and say that is my reaction whenever someone goes to hug my sister. If you're hugging my sister, get off my sister. That's me.
If she don't know you, she'd be like that.
Duly noted. What I will say though is, yeah, man, one of the worst kept secrets. I mean, she tried to lie her way out of it and act like her mom's birthday or whatever. She wasn't gonna be there, but everybody knew that Jordynne was there. Everybody knows she signed, you know. So when her contract with Impact was up, we knew that most likely she would be here. And you can just tell that the fans are excited. They've done a really good job, not only with her stuff last year at the Rumble, but with NXT. She's already kind of ingratiated herself in like the WWE family. You know, the fans definitely seem to have taken note. Her presence is there. The thing that always strikes me about Jordynne Grace is that's so hilarious, and people don't really realize it. Like she's pretty much either the same height or right around the same height of Zelina Vega. Like she's just not big. She's just huge. You know what I mean? Like she's just a muscle mommy. So people don't realize that she's not like a tall woman, but seeing her do that to Piper and just seeing how impressive she is. I just love, like you mentioned, it's just she's gonna be a great addition, and whether she goes to NXT first or whether she comes straight to the main roster, her presence alone is gonna really do her good. So I can't wait to see how she interacts with the rest of the roster.
Yeah, well, and again, that interaction made me think, yeah, maybe she is due for the main roster, as opposed to going to NXT, but who knows. Number 20, Mi Chin. Number 21, Alexa Bliss. The biggest popular night so far. We haven't seen her in years, it seems. Jaxie, what a great moment and what a great surprise. As they said, the internet told us she wouldn't be there.
Yeah. I mean, this was one of those moments where, I got the pleasure of being able to watch this as a watch party. Yes, we did do that. Me and my twin sister watching this together alongside one another. And it was much more enjoyable that way. And she told me, just at the very beginning of this Royal Rumble, who her sort of like surprise pick entrance was. And I thought she was stupid because, as you said, James, I was like, no, she already said she wasn't going to be here. She's happy being mummy, she's staying off for a bit longer or whatever. No, she completely pulled it out of us. But just like the same pop name we got when she returned, Alexa got that. And I absolutely loved her gear. I loved her coming out with Lily. I loved her turning around and she had the jacket on that says Friends Forever on it, instead of Fiends Forever. It was just brilliant. And it was just such a great homage to Bray Wyatt as well. It was just a lovely moment. So it was like kind of very feel good, very emotional because of thinking of Bray as well and her connection with him. But also I just started already thinking about stuff that could come from this, the fact that Nikki Cross has now joined the Wyatt Six, the fact that her and Nikki used to be tag partners, just so much excitement has come from this one return and this entrance. So I am all here for it. Welcome back, Alexa Bliss. I cannot wait to see what you do on this roster.
Did you notice that Lily had a 6 in her eye?
Did she?
Yes, she did.
I mean, did they close up on that? I didn't clock that.
Yeah. So hopefully.
Cool. See, look, she's already maybe setting the seeds. Yeah, you know it. No, they're already setting the seeds. I'd love that as well. I'd love to have not only a Nikki and Alexa reunion, but have an Alexa reunion with the Wyatt family. And yeah, just seeing what they can do. Nikki's not done much as of yet in terms of wrestling. It's just been her presence so far. So maybe with Alexa returning, we could potentially be seeing a dominance of this faction within both the female tag division and the male tag division. Who knows? But the possibilities are endless, and I'm just really excited to see Alexa back.
Really good stuff. 22 was Lena Vega. Number 23 was Candice LeRae. Not a big reaction. 24 was Stephanie Vaquer. And again, Monty, a pleasant surprise. This is Sean just going, look what I've got, Trips. Look what I've got.
Yeah, and also I just think this in a spot that's going to happen later in this match kind of just showed me where they already kind of see Stephanie, and already, like you mentioned, just having her here first Royal Rumble, kind of like they did with Roxanne. I think we already knew she's the prodigy. We knew they thought highly of Roxanne. That's why this is her third one already. But I think they're kind of doing that with Stephanie and letting everybody know that if you don't know her now, you better get to know her because she got a bright future. And I think it's obvious. So I thought that was really cool that she was there.
Yeah, without a doubt. Number 25 was Trish, wearing the gear she debuted in, and she looked amazing. Seeing Trish mix up with Niven and Grace and everybody else is just brilliant. I mean, say what you will about Gina, but Trish is a legend and deserves a moment here.
Yeah, she looked absolutely awesome. I was hoping she was going to be a part of the Rumble. There were sort of whispers and hints of her joining, but I also know that they've got, an abundance of women to choose from to go into the Rumble now. So I didn't get my hopes up, but I really hoped to see her and to see her come in that OG gear. For those of us who do know her from, when she first debuted or when she was on it during the Attitude Era, it just gave kind of nostalgic hits, So it was just great to see her working with this younger talent. And she looked like she'd never been away from the ring, She looked
Yeah.
good with other people, and the other people made her look good too. So yeah, fair play to her for still coming back and keeping fit enough to be able to jump in like this when she can.
Yeah, without a doubt. Number 26 was Raquel Rodriguez, and she helped Liv get rid of Natalia. There you go, Jax. Liv sent Bliss flying, and Jaxie, she should have lasted
well
longer.
done, Trish.
But Alexa Bliss
Sorry.
should have lasted longer in the Rumble, though. Because we talk
She
about
should
the
have.
reaction.
She should have. I think
And
there
it's
was
like, what?
Did you hear the collective disappointment from the crowd to see her like already sort of gone? So I don't think anyone was expecting her to go get eliminated so soon. I certainly wasn't expecting that. I was quite disappointed.
Now, number 27, all hail the Queen. I mean, she looked good, girl. You look good. I mean, she couldn't get a robe off, but I mean, a massive pop. You know, you can see the knee brace, but my God, it's great to see her back. She chopped the shit out of everyone, hit a great double DDT, and dumped Niven out. Monty, some class back in the women's division with Charlotte's return.
I mean, I can't put it any better than it. Just it's always great to see Charlotte. She was so. I mean, it was such a thing. I wanted them to. I wish we go back to back in the day with Royal Rumbles because as much as they already put out a vignette that she was coming back. But just you saw how big the pop was anyway. But like, just imagine what it would have been if she would have got the similar. It did make Alexa, I guess, feel a little bit more special because we knew Charlotte was coming back. But it's just like I remember the Royal Rumble having so many great surprises, and Trish got a great reaction and all that too because of that. So, but it's great to see Charlotte here, man. She is the queen, like you mentioned, elegance personified. Yep. She gives it off. Great robe as always. I wasn't a fan of the gear per se, especially once she took the robe off and stuff, but it was good. She still looked great. She's still the queen, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Jaxie, you're pleased to see her, I suppose.
I mean, again, I expected her. Again, we were kind of already signposted to the fact that she was joining the Royal Rumble. I wasn't a fan at her coming out at number 27 because that was when I knew that my doom was just impending and it was incoming real quick. So I knew I fucked up right there and then.
Cut her off, Joe.
So yeah, I think this was where all the seeds started to set in, and I just realized, for fuck's sake, that is my thought going into that moment.
Yeah, no, it's great to see her. Number 28 was Julia. Not as big as Steph, but a great position. Her and Io had a nice exchange. Julia then sent Grace on her way, and we got NXT versus WWE. And Gina, I know you don't watch NXT weekly, but it must have been great to see Stephanie, Rox, and of course Julia team up and see what they're going to offer in the future.
Yeah, for sure. That part was so cool. And even though I don't watch NXT, I do catch like sort of highlights that happen throughout the show. And so it was interesting to see these girls, these ladies team up like this. I liked it. It was a good little spot for them.
Without doubt. Number 29, Nia Jax. She's got the most career eliminations as she pulled Vega off the ropes. Trish got rid of LeRae and gave her best to Jax, but was eliminated in the end. And at number 30, Nikki Bella. Well, shit. Monty. I mean, again, I don't know if I was upset about my pick not being in the Rumble again, but Nikki fucking Bella, man. I've got no good memories of the Bellas. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy. So anything positive?
I love Nikki, bro. I love the Bella Queen. I understand. She was a product of a different time. I think Nikki and the Bellas kind of get blamed for stuff that ain't necessarily their fault. Like they get, like when AJ Lee left and they were still kind of in that weird era of trying to blend the new era with the Four Horsewomen and still had a diva thing going. Like the Bella Twins were the most popular. They sold a lot of merch. So, I mean, that's why they kind of got front street. They was on television no matter what. So I understand why people didn't like it. My problem with her being number 30 is I probably would have took at least Sonya, or like you mentioned earlier, B-Fab or a couple of these other ladies. They probably didn't need to be there and then you can have her earlier. I just didn't like her as a number 30 because it just felt like the fans there seemed to disagree, so I shut up. They liked it, and so I guess we don't really matter what we say, James, on that front. But as a number 30, when you're expecting a vengeful Jade to pop up, at least that's what I was expecting there. Yeah, man, it was kind of deflating is probably the best way to put it. But I love Nikki, so I don't mind her being there. And after everything she's been through outside of the ring, her getting back in the ring probably is fulfilling in a lot of different ways for her personally. So I'm rooting for her in that regard. But yeah, as a Royal Rumble entrant, and like we could have possibly got Jade or a couple other people, maybe another surprise of some sort. Yeah, I definitely was off-putting in that regard because I didn't think my problem is that I think number 30 needs to have the thought process that they can come in and win, and I didn't think Nikki. That's the problem I got with it. It's like Nikki, as much as we love you, you're not gonna win, and she ended up like eliminating somebody who could have won, and I wouldn't have been mad. So it just, yeah, it was one of those things.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, we had 7 on the apron, and Nia took out Belair, Rodriguez, Liv, Naomi, Io, and Raquel all at the same time. Jaxie, you must have been fucking furious.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit, yeah. Like I think I just kind of lost all faith after Charlotte came out at number 27. So
you can't blame Charlotte for 8 people.
No. What I'm saying is I already was deflated by that point, so I don't even think that any of these eliminations came as a surprise to me anymore because I kind of already knew who was winning, if that makes sense. So
it was guaranteed after this.
Yeah, it really was for sure. But I do have to say I have to go back on myself because I mentioned stuff about the Alexa Bliss and the surprise return. I got it mixed up. I thought that I didn't think of this with Nikki Bella, and that was the one that my sister chose. It was Nikki Bella as a surprise return that I did not see coming. So I have to kind of correct myself there. But I have to agree with a lot of the stuff that Monty said with regards to sort of the number 30 spot. It was exciting to see Nikki Bella return, but I would have had her probably enter a bit earlier, and I probably would have put my pick too had been avenging Jade. So yeah, that kind of just threw things out of the woodworks for me.
Yeah, without doubt. Rox eliminated Julia on the apron. Nikki Bella took out Bayley, but the final 4 for only seconds as Nia took out Bella. The final 3 was Charlotte, Rox, and Jax. Charlotte took out Jax, leaving her and Rox, and 1 kick later, Charlotte is going to WrestleMania.
Boom.
She did it! Yeah! Monty, what were your thoughts?
I was at the time I was excited. Again, I was with a bunch of people who don't really watch wrestling, but everybody know Flair, so they was excited. So it was a good time. It was a good time. It was one of those things where I was kind of mad at myself because Charlotte was the main name on my mind the whole time predicting, because but I was like, y'all showed that vignette. It's too obvious, right? You wouldn't just do that. And sometimes you just got to stick with what's obvious. And, but I knew that it was going to be people who was not going to be happy. Not even talking about Jaxie, but like, I just knew there was going to be some of that. But like, it's Charlotte, man. Like, at this point, I expected greatness and I expect her to win in these situations. That's just pretty much what we've been presented with. So I'm not surprised at all, especially once she got Nia over, because I was like, okay, so are we entertaining Nia? Because Roxanne winning would have been different, because I don't think anybody who's ever done it while still technically being like active in NXT. So that would have been completely different. And she had already did so good. So I kind of was, but like you gotta watch for the boot. Like I don't know how many times I think she won the first Royal Rumble she did. You gotta watch for the big boot, man. Like it's gonna happen. She loved that boot and she did it again, and I was happy. The crowd there was happy too at the time. So I thought it was a great Royal Rumble, or at least a good finish to the Royal Rumble there. Even though I did have some problems with the way the match was put together, but we can get to that when we give our ratings and stuff. Or if we doing that now, you want me to do that now? Or
Well, I don't think rating will come back. I'll come back round.
We'll come back.
I mean,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy for Charlotte. Of course, I'm happy for Charlotte.
Yeah, well, Gina, I'll come to you. I mean, what were your thoughts on the Rumble? And again, Charlotte going back seemed a bit predictable, even if we kind of all avoided it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bash because it was great to see her back and she looks good as well. So I will give her that. But I wasn't too pleased with her getting the win here. I'm not trying to be bitter and I don't dislike her, but I don't think like the women's Royal Rumble has been going on enough to warrant a need to have a second Royal Rumble winner, like someone who's won it a second time in a row. I think we need to use opportunities like the Royal Rumble winners, like the Elimination Chamber winners, to elevate like new talent or even like talent that has been mid-carded, but you're elevating up to the next level now, things like that. The thing is, Charlotte Flair is already a star. I know she's going to want this stat as I'm the first woman to get the two Royal Rumble wins. But did she necessarily need it? No. I just feel like it could have gone to someone else. I may be biased in saying this because I went with her for the win, but I think like Alexa Bliss would have been wicked as getting a win here. I also wouldn't have been mad at Roxanne Perez getting the win here and being the first NXT female to get that win. You could have done loads of other firsts with this win. I just didn't feel that, with just eight Rumbles for the women's at the moment, we needed a stat to say a Royal Rumble winner for the second time. That's my personal opinion. Again, it's not me disliking Charlotte. I just don't think it was needed. And I think that they could have used this opportunity to boost someone else for 2025. And they still could have had Charlotte come in and then grow some beef in the ring with somebody, and still keep her hot on the top, but just have her brew some beef with someone. Once she gets over that beef, then chuck her into the title picture and have her headline SummerSlam or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it was a bit annoying. I wasn't as impressed with this Rumble. I loved seeing Nikki Bella back. I was expecting Jade to be in that 30th spot. So I was really deflated with that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't that impressed by this one.
Yeah, I mean, you had two picks and still got them wrong.
For you, James.
Well, it happens, doesn't it? Jackson, I'm sure you're going to completely disagree with that. Charlotte definitely deserved this win.
I mean, y'all think I'm like uber like anti Charlotte. It's not that like I hate her, but I just don't think that like I just didn't. I have a lot of the same thoughts that my sister has about it. I just don't think she needed that win. There were plenty of other like opportunities that could have been pulled here, and Charlotte could like with the name that she is, the legend that she already has like cemented for herself. She could have still been involved in WrestleMania without actually having to pick up this win. So I do you know what? I don't even think I'm even mad at her winning. I'm mad that I didn't see this coming, So like, I think it's more like that, but it's just, again, I have a lot of the same thoughts as my sister. I don't really feel like there needed to be a two-time female Royal Rumble winner at this moment in time. As she said, you use this opportunity to elevate, new faces, and I could easily have seen Charlotte, create some sort of feud already from being eliminated within the Rumble. I just don't think she needed this, and I think they just gave it to her, and I just think this was lazy booking. So, I feel like it started off with potential, the Women's Royal Rumble, but then really kind of went downhill in terms of storylines and what they could have told or started to cement in the build up to WrestleMania. So we'll see what comes from it, though. I'm just more mad at that I didn't see this coming.
Well, one of the things that annoyed me was Michael Cole saying it was his 28th Rumble. It is. We haven't commentated them all. So, technically, but again, let's talk about the match. Fair play, Roxanne Perez. Monty, you were saying how like the match, I mean, it kind of had ups and downs, would be fair to say.
Yeah, I just thought like from a production standpoint, like a lot of stuff was just clunky to me. I mean, like going back to like you just mentioned that moment with Julia and Io, and it's like for some reason Raquel and Liv are like playing Ring Around the Rosie with Charlotte's body in the way of the camera shot, and it's like why is it 14 women still in the ring while we waiting on Nia to come clean out? Like you just mentioned, Nia got like 7 eliminations on one spot. Like that, if you want to say lazy, that type of stuff, the way the matches were put together, in my opinion, in that way was lazy. And it just wasn't enough. Also, it wasn't enough elimination. If you think about that, Nia almost took out that's almost 10. That's almost a third right there of the women in the Royal Rumble that Nia had to come in at the end almost and take out. So it's not even like who really got a chance to impress, like you mentioned, other than the moment that like a Chelsea had and everybody. Some people came in the ring, they did 1 or 2 moves, and then immediately they went to the side, and it just was nothing else for them to do until they got eliminated. It's just like if you watch the way the match was put together, it was like I don't understand why certain things were happening, or if they did happen, the camera was somewhere else or somebody else was in the way. It was just such a clunky way they built it. And my only disagreement about Charlotte being lazy booking is that I would agree with you if Tiffany Stratton wasn't the champion. But since Tiffany Stratton is the champion, they've been comparing Tiffany Stratton since the first day she walked in the Performance Center to Charlotte. I think that's obviously a play there. And then of course you even got the rematch angle, which we can get into later with Rhea. So again, Charlotte, in my opinion, I don't think the decision is lazy as much as I think I just felt like nobody. It's so many women in there that was believable contenders, and then like I said, Nikki Bella gets to eliminate Bayley, or you get Alexa who just returned. Would have been nice to at least have her in the Final Four. I probably wouldn't have made her win because they literally signed her the day before this. So I understand not making her win, but at the same time, she got that pop. You know, she's a champ. Well, she has championship pedigree. She's another person who could have did more. So it's just one of those things where you look at the match and you just look at how it was put together. A lot of women, some women got a chance to shine and they did it the right way, but a lot of stuff was just put together in such a weird way that I'm not used to when you think about Royal Rumble. And we can talk about the men's Rumble. I think that's going to be a different in the 2 Royal Rumble with just the way certain things were produced and put together.
So what would you score it then?
I give it a 4. I don't think it was bad, but it was just a solid Royal Rumble. I'm not mad at the Charlotte decision. I get it, but like I also picked Bianca, so I can't say I didn't want a 2-time winner to win, and Bianca would have been the first 2-time winner. So I can't contradict myself there. So yeah, man, I think this is good, man. So it's like I give it a 4 overall, but it was definitely some issues that kept it from being as good of a Royal Rumble as we've come to be used to.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gina, what would you score it?
I'll give it a 4 as well, but I don't think it was the best women's Rumble that we've had out of the 8 so far.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I have to agree. 4. I think that's fair.
We're going to give it a 4 1/4. Predictions: Jaxie and Monty went Belair. I went Cargill. Gina went Cargill or Bliss. All got nothing. So the mini games then. Number 1s. We've Jaxie, James, Monty went Belair. Gina went Charlotte. So we got no points. Number 30, we all went Cargill. So no points. Shortest was Maxine. Longest was Rock. So no points. No lucky numbers either. Final 4 or 1 point for Charlotte. Yay, we got a point. Most eliminations, Monty went with Nia Jax. He gets a point. Who eliminates who? Jaxie 1 point with Bayley eliminating Baszler. See, Jax, as long as you embrace the hate, you do all right.
It's so sad to go against my own girl, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I had a little stroke of juice like then.
Well, Monty got a point for Charlotte eliminating Jax, and James and Gina got no points. Surprises, we all got 2 points. Combo Flash, Bliss, Grace, and Rox, and of course, Gina with the Nikki Bella, which I think is the call of the Rumble so far, I will say.
G-site.
So after, yeah, it is. So after that, points wise, Monty. Oh, hang on, we'll do it from top up. Gina and James are on 3, Jaxie on 4, Monty on 5. We add that to the bonus. So at the moment, Gina's on 3, Jaxie's on 4, I'm on 5, Monty's on 6. But of course, a lot of things can change. And look, Kurt Angle is there. Up next, WWE Tag Team titles, 2 out of 3 falls match, Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. Garland and Ciampa perfectly faked a tag, giving the impression that the former was legal competitor. This allowed the latter to rock Shelly with a knee strike and win the first fall. Motor City fought back, hitting the skull and bones to even the score. The Street Profits interfered late, and Dawkins blasted Alex Shelley with a crutch, setting up Ciampa and Garno's meet in the middle finish. Afterwards, the champion celebrated. The Street Profits beat the shit out of him with a crutch as well. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, overall, I thought it was like a pretty decent sort of like tag battle, showcasing, both teams. I must admit that I was really enjoying watching the Motor City Machine Guns, and felt that they did like a really decent sort of job working alongside each other and stuff. But I must admit, like I really peaked up, and like when Street Profits got themselves involved, I don't know why. I didn't know why they kind of came out during towards the end of this match as they did, but I gotta admit, this really did pique my interest, and I actually just thought to myself, I haven't actually thought about the Street Profits in a while, and this sudden appearance by them definitely intrigued me to find out what's going through their minds.
Yeah, well, let's not forget the Profits were taken out backstage, so it looks like DIY are the ones that did that, so they've come back, obviously. But again, it's still good to see.
I kind of forgot that, though. I think that's why my intrigue, I was intrigued, because I kind of forgot about them being taken out.
No doubt. I think the disappointing thing in the match that could have maybe stolen the show, kind of exposed the kind of the 4-match format, Monty. Would that be fair to say? Am I just thinking too much about DIY at this moment in time and Motor City Machine Guns?
Yeah, I think that's how it was placed, but I think the crowd was kind of, after watching an hour-long Royal Rumble, the crowd seemed to be kind of relaxed. I think that kind of took away from it, and also it's hard to do a 2 out of 3 falls match in like 15 minutes. Like when I realized this match wasn't even 15 minutes, it's like, how the hell are you supposed to do a match like that? At least from my estimation. So yeah, man, it was okay. I thought it was a decent match. The finish did, even though I knew they were attacked, I still was confused by the finish, because they didn't attack DIY, they attacked the Motor City Machine Guns. So I don't know if they're trying to tell us. I don't know what they're trying to tell us. Is this just another one of those heel turns? And then you go to SmackDown. From what I saw, I don't think they even explained it. So it was just one of those weird things. We'll see where it goes, though. I'm always happy to see the Profits, but it's been years since they became champions. It's been years since they've really been relevant in the division like that. So I don't know what, either just make your mind up and split them up and let them do their things in a singles capacity, or finally give them a legitimate push and a purpose. So it just don't feel like you're wasting their talent. But it was good to see them. But yeah, I thought that was okay, but it was still confusing. I gave it like 3 3/4. Good match, but a 2 out of 3 falls match in less than 15 minutes, James, think about it. It's weird.
It was a bit weird. I mean, Gina, what were your thoughts on this? Again, 2 teams that we know are quite good, and again, the division is heating up, so that would be interesting to see. And what would your score be?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Monty. I was quite shocked at how short this match was. I'm not as familiar with the Motor City Machine Guns, since I've only seen them since they've come up to this main roster. So for me, I do still feel quite new in viewing them. But one thing I'll give them is they have some incredible speed as a tag team. And I'm just a bit confused as to why this match was so short. I'm not expecting it to be a good on good old half hour, but it was 2 out of 3 falls, so I kind of expected it to go on maybe for 20 minutes or so, you know. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock. I enjoyed the match, but I also was very confused as to why the Street Profits attacked the Motor City Machine Guns instead of DIY, because I was sure DIY were the ones to take them out. No, so yeah, for me, I was super.
I think they
confused.
wanted them to be tag champions. That was the thing they were
Yeah,
trying
but
to explain at the
like, that's
Rumble, but didn't
stupid.
really.
Like, surely for you
It's
to
still
get
confusing.
Yes, it's stupid. It's wrestling. That's what we
yeah, I would be a bitter ass bitch and be like, I'm gonna make you lose the belts. And I'll probably still go after the belts myself, but I'm gonna take you guys out first because you lot took us out. You know, so yeah, it just didn't make sense for me because in my eyes, the Street Profits were helping them. So I was like, wait, are they trying to turn them face again? So I was a little bit confused out of that. But as you just explained it, I'm like, oh, okay, so they've probably wanted to keep them as champs so that they could take the belts from them. Okay,
It's still
so
stupid.
yeah,
It's like the
again,
punk
it
Drew
just
thing all over again. Let them be
at the
champion.
end. Yeah, that's just how I felt at that time. I was confused at the end of the match as to why they helped them, but now, as you've pointed it out, it does make a little bit of sense. But still,
What would you score it?
um, I'll give it a 3.5.
3.5. And Jaxie, what would your score be?
Yeah, I'll give this a 3 3 3/4.
Yeah, I'll give it 3 3/4 as well. Predictions. We all went DIY through all on one. Yes, we got Ron Simmons in the crowd, RVD, and others. I could give a fuck about Pat's football days. Fuck that. Up next, ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. This was a brutal match that saw several high risks taken by both men. Owens delivered a body slam to Rhodes through the rungs of a ladder in a spot that did not look enjoyable. Michael Cole noticed that no man in WWE history has had more title matches at the Rumble than Owens. And unfortunately, not successful either. But Rhodes called back to a ladder match with Wade Barrett, broke off a rung, used it as a weapon. Wade loved it at ringside. Rhodes delivered a back body drop onto the edge of the ladder in the first real cringeworthy moment of the match. The Fisherman Buster by Owens to Rhodes onto a ladder was even more sickening, most because the challenger's head caught the ladder. Sammy came down but didn't get involved, leading to Cody hitting an Alabama slam through a ladder to win. It looked like Kevin Owens had died. Gina, what are your thoughts on this mad match?
I legit said to Jax, he's dead. Kevin's dead. Like, look at his neck. Look at his position. I was like, he's dead, and no one's checking on him. The match was incredible for me. I thought, both of them just went all out. You could feel the animosity between them both, and you could tell they both just wanted to really cause each other pain. I was super excited to watch it. I was a little confused when Sammy came running out. Like, I get it, you're friends with them both and you want to act all worried, but this isn't kind of a custody battle for you, Sammy. So
you're making it worse, mate.
Just like, again, I got nothing against Sammy. I actually love him. But there was a part of me that was like, what's the point on you being out here, bro? Like, just stay in the back and watch as a worried friend, So yeah, that part did confuse me a little bit. I'm glad to know that Kevin is actually okay, because that spot, even though it was hilarious and I was saying he was dead, it actually looked painful. So I'm glad to hear that he actually is okay. But to be honest, this match was just great. It was absolute war and carnage and brutal, and I loved it. So for me, I'm going to give it a 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Yeah, this match was incredible. I mean, Jackson, when's the last time you saw a top tier guy risking it all? Because that's what Cody did in this match. One wrong move, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? It's incredible to think what he's doing.
There were plenty of risks taken in this match by both Cody and Kevin. You could tell there was real trust between one another with how hard they both went. Both men put their bodies through hell in that match. And, there were certain moments that were really sort of like look away moments. Like, you just couldn't even imagine, how are they still getting up and fighting each other right now? How are they both not crumpled on the floor, like calling for a timeout, something, you know. So you've got to give it up to both men because they put on one hell of a performance. It was really good. And just that final shot of Kevin going through that ladder. Yeah, I was safe to say I was shocked that we even got any form of like sort of promo or cameo from him like the week later. You know, he looked fucked when he went through that ladder. So this match was brutal, and I couldn't actually praise both men enough for what they put their bodies through. I think this is a good like 4 3/4.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good stuff. And I think there was a shot of Cody just looking down at the damage he caused Kevin Owens, and it reminded me a bit of like Umaga versus John Cena back in like 2007 Monty, where it kind of like built the toughness in Cody, and this is what title reigns are made of, if you know what I mean, matches like this.
Yeah, and I also think he did that because you gotta keep in mind that this was a friend or somebody Cody looked at like a friend. So again, it kind of goes back into that subtle change or that subtle just like intensity now that it's gonna take from him, to keep his belt and like what he's gonna have to be willing to do, even to people he may like or love. So I look at it that way, and then also it's just one of those things, in my opinion, where Cody really has gotten a lot of flack for maybe not having the run maybe some people thought, and I just think the stuff with Kevin Owens from the beginning pretty much has really been a strong suit of his run. Anybody you haven't heard any of those naysayers in a while talking about his match quality or opponent quality is as loud as they were. So I think a lot of it has to be because of how great him and Kevin's chemistry has been, and just how different this feud feels. It doesn't feel like it's more than the title at stake, in my opinion. When you look at it, this is definitely one of the best matches Cody has had as world champion. And Kevin's match, I mean, he does this all the time. He always raises his game, but he's unbelievable. I don't even know who to compare him to at this point. Who he's willing to put his body on the line, but he's also one of the best, talkers, and he's just excellent, and like in so many ways, he's like he has everything you want in a guy, and that's why he's always here. It's unfortunate that he doesn't win, but it's a reason why he's always the contender, and he's always believable, even though he hasn't won a world title since he got screwed out of the Universal title with Goldberg or whatever. So, Kevin is always one of those guys who just really raises his game, and this is just really great work. I agree. I think 4 3/4 is fair. It was excellent. It was a car crash, and I also want to add on to that Sammy being there kind of made me like it even more because it was a successful gaslighting that Kevin did on the prior show when he kind of like, a few weeks before that, he kind of tried to guilt Sammy and through his friendship and just talking about, what you've done for Roman. You're definitely gonna do that for me, right, pal? We've been in this at the beginning, and we're gonna fight each other at WrestleMania. Very great job of making somebody come out there, but he didn't do a good enough job because he didn't get the help he was looking for. But this is still really good stuff from everybody involved.
Yeah, no doubt. 4 3/4. This was just crazy, and it was actually better on the rewatch as well because obviously when you're watching live in a Rumble, and you might be doing other things, but this really did stand out on the rewatch. Predictions all went Cody, so all on 2. And up next, the men's Rumble matchup. Number 1 was Rey Mysterio. Penta came in at number 2. I mean, what a moment, Jaxie.
Instant chills the moment Penta's music hit, because the moment his music hit, not only was I excited to see him in his first ever Royal Rumble, but it just hit me right there and then. This is going to be the first time anyone is ever seeing Penta versus Rey in the ring. And yeah, you could just tell the whole crowd was thinking the exact same thing. And this is what made the beginning of the men's Royal Rumble that much more impactful, because if you already gave us what ifs, you already gave us 3 matches that we are looking forward to seeing too, from your choices of 1 and 2 coming out. This was a great moment for both Penta and Rey to show off what they can do. and a great sort of luchador moment. Just having those two as the first two.
Right, but it nearly ended in disaster, didn't it? With Penta over the top, and again, questions of did his feet
Oh my
hit?
God, yeah. I mean, you knew that they didn't even show a replay. They were like, no, we ain't having anyone question that. Let's move on. Let's move on real quick.
Well, it got even worse because watching live, obviously Penta went over and we saw it. Rewatching, they changed the camera angle, so you don't even go near that now. But you do hear Wade's commentary with Michael going, "Shut the fuck up about VAR."
Yeah. You kind of already fucking know that they were like, no, change the angle because he definitely just eliminated himself there.
Yeah. Number 3 was Chad Gable, and he hates luchadors. Number 4 was Carmelo Hayes. He disrespected Ray. Number 5 was Santos Escobar. It's nice to see him. He did hit a wicked destroyer on Penta. Otis at 6. And it's weird, Gina, because all these other wrestlers, but Otis still gets that reaction from the crowd. Even though not being booked, there's still a love there that people just can't take away.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to admit, I'm one of those people that, every time I do see Otis, there's just a warmth that he exudes, and I can't help but love him, and he's not even done anything specific recently.
He's done nothing.
Yeah, he's not done anything to encourage it, but he just exudes this aura about him that I think, everyone just loves to see. So, I'm still happy for him because, like you said, he doesn't get shown all the time, but when he does, he still gets shown a lot of love.
Yeah, there is a connection there. Number 7 was Bron Breakker, who did get a great reaction. Bron speared his way into the match, eliminating Mello, which was a little bit of a surprise. Number 8 was meant to be Tozawa, but Mello took him out on the way to Gorilla. In Gorilla, Triple H looked around and picked I Show Speed. Now, guys, I would normally hate this, but this did lead to one of the greatest Royal Rumble moments ever, with Bron spearing the ever-loving shit out of him. Not finished, he threw him at Otis, who had been eliminated by Bron, and who launched him onto the announce table. Monty, I get your reaction, Liz. Holy fucking shit. Like, fair fucking play.
Oh no, it was excellent, man. It had everybody in my house going crazy. Braun ran through him, and the size difference made it look even more just insane. And it was one of those things and one of those moments. I'm definitely a proponent of if you're gonna do this. This is one of those times where they make you think about your arguments, because I'm not a big fan, and I'll even mention it when we get to number 30. I'm not a big fan of giving these spots to people outside, because we know how important this can be. Like, you guys just kind of mentioned it in the Charlotte's Royal Rumble, and just how many women that you think you can make a star out of. That's the same thing you can make the case for in this situation. But if you're going to do it, then you got to make it count. You know what I mean? And he's so popular too, and I saw this everywhere. All type of outlets that don't give a damn about wrestling posted it. So this was special, man. This is a special moment, and I'm glad he's okay, even though he was on crutches and stuff in photos after.
Honestly, though, Jackson, you mentioned it earlier with the spear on Sheamus, but like the speed of Bron, he just was not holding back.
Oh my gosh. When you saw him gearing up on the ropes, I was like, oh my gosh, like Speed is about to die. Speed is about to die. Like, he did. He died. I'm just saying. Again, if you saw like pictures that Steve was showing after, like, it's not funny, but it's funny. I think this is one of those rare moments where I say, like, it does work when there's like maybe only one spot that's given to sort of like a comedic moment like this. But like, there doesn't need to be a regular occurrence of this. Just because you did something like this year doesn't mean we necessarily need that next year, going into next year's, But this was one of those like most viewed moments, because I got to admit, even I took straight to Twitter to kind of try and see if anyone had posted yet, so I could rewatch that video. It was just, it was an insane of a sphere. So, Speed, I'm actually glad you survived that. But then after he decided to go ahead and ask Bianca Belair to whip him with her braid, and he just got smack up with that as well. So, like, I don't know. Maybe Speed is into BDSM because like he was just taking all of the hits.
Yeah. I mean, some people are, aren't they, Gina? Anyway, number 9 was Sheamus. He, of course, won in 2012. Jimmy was number 10, and we were a third of the way through. Number 11 was Andrade. And Gina, it was quite a different reaction from last year that Andrade got, the poor bastard.
Yeah, I mean, again, Andrade didn't have the most impactful year when he returned last year, I mean, he was showcased a few times and he had great matches, but there's nothing significant for you to point out last year. So when his entrance music dropped, I mean, he did still get, cheers and stuff, but it was kind of like a normal everyday entrance rather than excitement at seeing him enter the Rumble and excitement like, oh, could Andrade get it this year, So I definitely feel he needs to kind of be built back up for that excitement to roar again for his involvement in Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, right. Let's hope Zelina Vega and him can get together and we can hope. Number 12, Jacob Fatu. Shit just got serious. He hit a double Samoan on Ray and Penta. He eliminated Gable, Mysterio, and Andrade. Number 13 was Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser tried to buy this time, but Penta sent him packing. 14 was Miz. This was his 16th Royal Rumble, tied for second place on the list. Number 15, halfway through, say his name, and he appears. Yes! Yes! Fans loved it. I loved it. The TNA champion. It is Joe fucking Hendry. He hit Miz with a standing ovation. Sheamus was enjoying him as well. We've got a new believer. It was unbelievable. I'll talk about this. James, what do you think? Well, James, I thought this was fucking brilliant. Joe Hendry, what a fucking moment. Number 16, Roman fucking Reigns. The first Rumble since 2020. He came out with Heyman and got Pyro. I mean, Monty, it shows how big a star you are when the Rumble just stops when you enter.
Yeah, it's funny. I went from shock to how excited the people were to see the TNA champion to being like, oh, well, now it's time to get serious. I also think, again, watching this stuff in front of people who don't watch all the time, like anybody who complained, I can almost make this case for Charlotte, but not so much to the extent of Roman. But anybody who complain about Roman being on top, y'all need to sit around some cows. Any hardcore fan who complains, sit around some people who don't watch wrestling all the time and watch what happens when Roman walks out there. It don't matter who you are, don't matter what age they are, woman, man, they stop and they watch because of him. And this was, like you mentioned, Jay, just the same thing kind of happened with the people in the ring.
Yeah, it really did. Roman made quick work with Sheamus and Miz. Reigns didn't believe and took out the TNA champion. I was hoping for a Cena, Joe Hendry, but again, we'll take that. Roman lost the Battle of the Spears with Braun, which I thought was a great moment. And again, Gina, not to kind of fantasy book, but like, wouldn't it be great if Heyman picked Braun as his next guy? And, this was kind of like the basis in what we've seen the past couple of years, because no one beats Roman in the spear battle.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be mad at that, to be honest. I could see Braun working with Heyman. I could see Heyman being the mouthpiece for Braun, because Braun is a man of few words as well. And I think that would work. I think they would have a quite good chemistry together. So I would look forward to something like that coming.
That's how good the Rumble was. I was fantasy booking at this point. I'm going, Breaker's going to do it. But Reigns managed to eliminate Braun. Fatu took out Jimmy, leading to him and Roman facing off. Roman speared him, but as you're interrupted by number 17, Drew McIntyre. And the Scottish psychopath finally got the revenge he wanted, beating Roman from pillar to post. But seriously, after a 4-year build, it was about 20 seconds of action and then forgotten about. I thought this was disappointing. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. Jaxie, what did you think after all this time? And it was just kind of forgotten about in the match after this as well.
I don't think much about this, James.
You don't think Drew got fucked over and screwed after all that stuff about Charlotte? Drew should have had his moment here, eliminating Roman Reigns. I'm sick of it. The truth needs to be said.
Yeah, you know what? Right, I'm not against your argument here. I just I just don't think I'm as angry as you about it.
I'm not angry. Anyway,
can I tell you what the normal people said when they saw Drew?
What?
My grandma was like, "Man, that guy tall." That's what
Yeah. Well, fuck. No, man. Say so then. Anyway, moving on. Number 18, Finn Balor. Penta and Roman worked together. Didn't think we were going to see that. Number 19 was the 2018 winner, Nakamura. Penta hit Destroyer and Fatu before Balor eliminated. And number 20, Jey Uso. He took out Nakamura. He wasn't in there long at all, Monty, really, was he? He's like, US champ Naka. Oh, we're going to rebuild him. Oh, no, wait, he's gone.
I liked his entrance. Most memorable thing he did was come out there in a nice mask, but that was about it.
Well, number 21 was AJ Styles. The return of the Phenomenal One, of course, made his debut on our first Rumble back in 2016. And Gene, it's always good to see him, especially looking exactly like he looked when he did debut.
Yeah, I think the commentators made note of that as well about his debut and that he looked exactly the same as he did when he came out first time. But it was so great to hear his music drop and hear the crowd be so excited to see him back
there you
too.
go.
Yeah, definitely. Jax even told me, AJ Styles is returning as well. So when she kind of had said,
honestly,
that,
I called it. I said this the minute his music dropped. I didn't even mean to do it, but I just said AJ Styles will come back at some point tonight, and then his music dropped.
Yeah. So,
fate.
I'm passing that G-site on to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, number 22. Number 22 was Braun. He looked good considering he had his face caved in a week before. He got in with Fatu and surprisingly dumped him out. Now, I didn't see this coming. Was anybody else upset that Fatu got eliminated like this? No one's unhappy. Well, fair play then.
No, sorry. I was going to say, I did not see this coming. I honestly could see him going to sort of the final four and everyone just sort of having that question of what if, like, will he actually do it? So I was slightly disappointed, to be fair.
I was slightly disappointed. But then Braun is huge. Like, I remember somebody pointing out, it was like, look how big that man is. Of course he threw him out. I'm like, all right, man, I'm just going to shut up. So, yeah, I think the regular people was affected with how mad I really was. Cause maybe I would have been mad about myself.
Upset about the biggest man in the match, eliminating people.
Right.
I think, Monty, we're at that stage where we're like, God, we've been watching this too long that we've got to kind of look at this from fresh eyes and think, yeah, man, I mean, he's big, like, what do you expect,
Exactly.
Well, number 23 was John Cena. What a reaction. 2-time winner. One last time. Cena ducked Braun to eliminate him and sent Balor out on top. I think Braun was meant to catch him. I don't know if you noticed it, Monty, because Braun was just like, oh, fuck it.
And bro said, screw it. Yeah, bro, like, what the fuck it, man? Like, because he missed it. It's just like, wow. But yeah, I think he was definitely supposed to catch him.
Cena and Reigns faced off to be interrupted by number 24, CM Punk. All three faced off until number 25 arrived, Seth Rollins. Gina, I mean, again, this is what Rumbles are so good at. And when they did it like this, the reaction each time was just bigger and bigger. And then Seth came out. But still, great moment.
Yeah, for sure. You just had so many big faces and names and heels in the ring at this point, and it was like everyone was just gunning for everyone, so you just couldn't really tear your eyes away from the screen. And then Seth's music hit and you thought, fuck, here we go.
Well, Seth didn't hang around, went straight after Punk. Number 26 was Dirty Dom. He frog splashed Cena. Number 27 was Sami Zayn. He Hoover kicked Seth because fuck it. Number 28 was Damian Priest. He sent Dom on his way to definitely, finally finish a feud. Number 29 was L.A. Knight. Wade Barrett's love of him. It's Wade, you're the man, all right? And Jey Uso, accident or not, eliminated Sami Zayn. And Jax is, again, another thing we could maybe look at and be like, well, Sami, he might be your friend, but he eliminates you from the Rumble that you want to win.
Yeah, again, a lot of this discussion, behind Sami and kind of what he's like potentially like what's going through his head at the moment, and the discussions that even Karrion Kross has been sort of like having, and how that's sort of playing into his mindset right now after having something like that happen with Jay, especially with the accidental kick. It's kind of like it leaves you with more questions on, okay, well, how will this relationship develop now, So this was a bit of a bittersweet moment because of like, Sami is your protect at all costs, but also Jay is like main event Jay. So I don't think anyone saw this sort of outcome coming between the two of them. And I don't think either of them were expecting to eliminate either in that way.
No, without doubt. Logan Paul was the last entrant at 30. Priest sent McIntyre out, but something didn't look right. And Monty, if the rumors are true, it's someone trying to get their moves in for LA Knight, but it just looked odd. And I don't know if they just missed a spot or what happened, but there was definitely something there that wasn't right.
I mean, based on what people say Drew reactions was afterwards, and I guess even his initial reaction, even though he seemed like he was just mostly just shocked at the time. So you didn't really take nothing from it at the time. Maybe that's just how professional they are. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because looking back at it, I'm like, what did LA Knight do that nobody else did?
Yeah.
That's the thing that wasn't so obvious. So I'm just like, is this a work or what is it? But I don't know. It didn't feel like one, based off what people were reporting. So it didn't feel like it was not. But it definitely was awkward. I agree with that. The camera wasn't ready. You would think somebody, like you mentioned, a lot of stuff with Drew's Royal Rumble, I understand why you storming out. Because it's like I'm giving these promos. I'm worried about Roman this entire time. Roman is not even the one who threw me out, or Seth didn't, or Punk didn't. Like, it would have made more sense. It's just like even we didn't see anything, and it's just so weird for when you think about how prominent Drew has been. He was one of those guys alongside of the John Cena's and all of that who was a main proponent of this build, and then for him to just get threw out and we don't even see it. Like, yeah, man, that's weird. Yeah,
it's weird. And what's even weirder as well, not weirder than McIntyre's treatment, but LA Knight eliminating Damian Priest, because I don't know why. Maybe they just needed someone to eliminate him. But I don't know. Knight was then chucked out by AJ. Logan jumped from ring to table and back and eliminated Styles. Roman and Seth faced off. And again, we talked about production issues, but that shot of Seth looking around and seeing Roman behind him, Roman looking like a lion. Rawr. As both were fighting, CM Punk eliminated both, and we were down to the final four. Now, at this point, I mean, Jackson, I'll come to you. It looked like it was CM Punk's to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this whole last section was slightly messy, but like also like not in a way that was like necessarily bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there was just so much to take in, so much that happened, and like so much happening in such a short time that like I feel like I definitely need to go back and just rewatch like that sort of final section again, just to kind of really like take everything into account again. But yeah, I didn't see the final four being the final four,
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, down to the final four, like I said, it was his moment. Punk was going to win. Nope. Logan Paul took him out. I mean, for fuck's sake. But there was more going on, because at ringside, Seth hit a curb stomp on, I think, Punk, and 2 on Roman, including on the stairs. Seth has finally snapped. Monty, we were waiting for it, and it happened here. So it looks like, again, breadcrumbs left for WrestleMania.
Yeah, man. I think that's if you're gonna get those guys out of there, you have, especially a guy like Roman, you have to do it in a storytelling manner. And I think this is just a great way to do it. Even though that idiot eliminating Punk was kind of annoying, I must say it was kind of ironic because if I remember, like literally on SmackDown, Punk was kind of roasting Kevin for losing to Logan Paul, so it was kind of funny right there. But at the same time, just to see these three guys brawling it out and just kind of keeping their storyline going. And now that, like you said, presumably they'll all be involved with each other going into WrestleMania. Like, I mean, if you think about the three people we're talking about, like that can finish night one without a title. I doubt it, but I'm just saying it could. And like just because of their name value and who we're talking about. So yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what we do on the road to that point, or what happens post Chamber and who gets in and what we get from Roman. But yeah, man, definitely some good stuff. And that double-footed curb stomp or whatever Seth did, it looked brutal. Like, if you're gonna write somebody off, that's one way to do it, because it definitely looked like Roman should have been a little shaky after that, because that was a great stomp.
Yeah, about that. Well, Jay and John thankfully teamed up to take out Logan, so we're down to 2. And after a great exchange, both were on the apron, and if Cena would hit the AA and win, Jay wriggled back in the ring and push Cena out to make history. Your Royal Rumble winner, Jay Uso, may be the biggest surprise winner of all time. Obviously, I want to get all your thoughts. So, Monty starts off. What were your thoughts on this Royal Rumble and Jay Uso winning?
Now, this was great. It had some production, like it had some issues, like we said, some clunkiness, but it was nowhere near as weird to me as the women seemed that time. This one was put together a lot more in a way we was used to. Didn't have as many surprises as the women's. I guess that's why you get a Nikki Bella and a Trish, because you knew that you had to get like as far as like legends or old school surprises. They didn't have that many, in my opinion, but it was still a great one from the perspective of just getting to where we was at. And then, like, again, I'm not a fan of the actual Final Four that we get when you think about everybody we had in there. But the final sequence, man, it was just great, because I'm just sitting there and everybody in the room told me Cena was going to win. And I'm like, I don't know, man. They might go the opposite way here. Like, because everybody don't have the context that how popular I think Jay is when they're in that room. So I think that's one of those things when you said you get a genuinely shocking result, because everybody knows Cena and everybody kind of expected Cena to do it at that point. Even as somebody who predicted Cena would win, I'm sitting there like, oh, please, let's go, Jay. Like, if they do that, I'll be really excited. So yeah, man, it was from that standpoint, like I give the entire Royal Rumble like a 4.5. I thought it was good, and like a shock, like not getting a winner that you don't expect is just incredible. But yeah, man, Jay winning, like we can talk about that in more depth when you want, but like it's just special, bro. Like I was not expecting it, but I'm damn sure happy about it.
Well, I think this was the thing, wasn't it? Like, and Jaxie, we've said we've done Rumbles together. I've watched Royal Rumbles live since fucking 1999. I think this was the first one where when it came to Final 2, and I'm going, I think Cena's going to win. But as Monty said, you just had that feeling. When Jay won, I don't know what it was, but it just felt a sense of accomplishment with the journey he has been on himself.
Yeah, I think really for me, when it came down to them as the final 2, I really had that feeling of they're actually gonna, give us a surprise here and actually give us Jay. And I felt like that because of the fact that we did get someone who is quite well equipped to this within Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble, like give us something more feel good, like sort of like end on with like a sort of unexpected surprise like this. But also I just don't feel like John Cena needs that win to go to WrestleMania. We'll talk further about, like what other privileges he's already gotten, going past this anyway, but he didn't really need this win. So I'm so pleased that Jay picked up this win. I was not expecting it at all. He was not my pick to win, but I'm completely surprised and pleased by this. So I think this was a good 4.5 as well.
Yeah, I think the thing is, Gina, as well, that there's a lot of people saying, oh, Jey Uso, a bit of surprise. And one of them, I've saw a tweet going, why would you want to make a superstar now? And I thought, what a stupid fucking thing to say. Like, in your hottest period with these guys who are main event, you have made now another main event with Jey Uso if things go correctly. How can that possibly be a bad thing, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. That tweet is so fucking stupid and irrelevant. Like, why not give it to Jay when he's at this peak? Again, I still get chills when I think about his entrance in France and just hearing that crowd, and even now when you see on like one of the most recent SmackDowns that just happened, the entire stadium, I think it was in Atlanta, the entire stadium was just like roaring for Jay. Like it's just crazy how over he is right now. So what it actually makes all the sense in the world. I'm angry at myself that I didn't think about this because of how hot Jay is right now. So yeah, those complaining about this, I honest to God, I just feel like you need to stop watching wrestling, because if it was anybody else other than Jay, I actually think I would have been more annoyed, even though I didn't see this coming, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And this is the thing as well. It's like I was maybe thinking there'd be more NXT talent, but the amount of talent that was on there who could legitimately win and then have this Jey Uso moment. And again, we'll talk about what happened afterwards as well, with the kind of like the press conference. He was still celebrating with a crowd 10 or 15 minutes afterwards, and Monty, like you mentioned as well with Jay, a lot of people like Big E was just so happy because he knows how difficult it is to kind of break out the tag division and become your own star. And that's what Jey Uso has done now, and that's the fair play. And the other thing I want to say as well, whilst I remember, people are saying, well, it's just a gimmick, it's just a catchphrase and, a hand signal, whether it isn't. That's how you get over. Look at Daniel Bryan.
That's a part of it. Man. Exactly. It's very similar. And the only reason why y'all thought about Bryan different is because a lot of these people on the internet remembered him or knew him from outside of WWE. But, this is the definition of homegrown, built through the WWE system. And I think whether people want to admit it or not, and some of these people are so-called non-WWE fans. You guys, the people who are saying stuff like that, they have been kind of poisoned, in my opinion, by the way the old man used to book. Because I don't care what anybody says. Okay, how many T-shirts he sell? The old man probably would not have made him win that Royal Rumble, like, in my opinion. I don't necessarily know if I can see that happening. And like you said, it was always been so hard to get out of tag division. It was always one of those things. He was a twin. I used to wonder, could Jay or Jimmy ever do it? And the fact that he done it, and the fact that he's earned it. Like I don't understand where this short. Maybe it's just the internet, and I think it's been proven if you listen to the crowd, it is mostly just the internet. But they have such a short-term memory. Like, what do you mean he hasn't earned it? What do you mean it's just a gimmick? So the Roman match at Hell in the Cell, that was incredible. We just forget that because it was almost 4 years ago now. Even the Gunther match he just had, he had them people in that crowd believing that he could win. That's more than just chanting yeet. That's more than just a hand signal. You know what I mean? So I get it. He doesn't have 15 moves. But guess who else used to have 5 moves that they used to talk about on the internet all the time? Who had 5 moves of doom, James? You remember that guy, right? The guy he just put out the Royal Rumble. Exactly. They used to talk about Cena all the time in the same way. Who had catchphrases like that? The Rock, Cena. They both were those type of guys. And they're 2 of the biggest stars in the history. You can't take their resume away from them. So I don't understand how a guy who's already a Hall of Fame tag team wrestler, who's elevated himself to make people believe in him. He had kids rooting against John Cena. I'm looking at videos of little kids rooting against Cena for Jay to win, and just they couldn't believe it. Like, that is what the business is all about. Is he Will Ospreay? No. Nobody is. Like, just get over it. Nobody's out here doing a lot of that stuff. But it's a testament that you don't have to be Will Ospreay to be one of the biggest stars in the world. Sometimes people just get invested in you. And that's what I think it is. Because I can go back and I can show you film of Jimmy Uso saying yeet in 2021. He ain't get this over. It's not just a word. So again, I'm not, and that's not me taking away from his brother. That's just me saying it's more than a word. Everybody's been along this journey. People believe in Jay, and that's why he is where he's at.
Yeah. And again, though, you make an interesting point.
Can I also just add? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, how many times have we all like sort of bitched and moaned at the fact that like someone like a wrestler is real hot and like the company have not dropped the ball with it and just ran with it and gone with
Exactly.
it and given the fans what they want, and then finally they actually do it, and then you got a lot of people complaining. Shut the fuck up and let us have this feel good moment, because it's really rare to actually get one of these sort of high like wrestlers that are so over with the crowd right now, and actually have them drop, like follow through with it rather than drop the case with it. And we bitch about that so much, and they've just given it to us. So just shut the fuck up and enjoy this feel good moment.
Yeah, without doubt. Like you said, it reminds me of like Bret Hart. His journey through WrestleMania Intercontinental title and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
exactly what Jay has
exactly.
been on the past kind of 3 years. And Gina, you know about maybe being a more talented twin. But again, there's not going to be no hard feelings from Jimmy, as we've seen the praise for Jay and the entire family. He deserves this moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, us younger twins are the more creative and loved ones. So,
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
when Jay wins, I kind of take the win for myself here as well. I feel like I'm wearing the crown too.
What would you?
But I'm happy for him.
What did you score the match? Sorry, I don't know if I wrote it down.
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, so that's 4.5 for me as well. No, I really enjoyed the Rumble. There's no doubt about it. Predictions, Gina, I love you. You went for Drew McIntyre. You surprised me. I love it.
I just thought it was his year to win the Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Monty went Cena. Jackson and I went Punk. So final scores were all on 2. Wow, that's bad. But there is a 4-way tie in the WWE Prediction League now. We're all on 1. Ooh. Mini games, no lucky numbers, no number 1s, no number 30s. Iron Man was Penta, so no points. Quickest was Kaiser, so no points. Most eliminations, Jaxie put Solo, so no points. Drew and I put Roman. Monty did the double with Fatu. Both got 4. All 3 of us get a point. That's not confusing. Who eliminates who? Mine were dog shit. Jaxie and Monty were unlucky. Gina was extremely unlucky. She put Punk eliminating Logan Paul. Hey? Oh, Gina, so close. But you did put Punk eliminate.
When I saw it actually happen, I was like, you wankers!
But you did put Seth eliminating Punk for a point. So fair play there.
But I did Bailey Shayna, remember? I did Bailey Shayna.
Well, this is the men's we're talking about.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
My bad. I thought we were doing overall ones. Sorry, my bad.
No, because we did the women's one earlier. All right. God, this is why I like Gina. Final 4, Gina had Punk. So did we, plus Cena. So point for her, 2 points for the 3 of us. Surprises, Gina and Monty had none. Jackson and I both said Hendry, but she also said AJ Styles. So a point to me and 2 to Jaxie. So Jaxie, see, you got surprises. Are you happy?
Ooh, yes, I am. I will soak that in.
Yeah. So point-wise for the men's, Monty on 3, Gina on 4, James and Jaxie on 5. So add these earlier, and the bonus point league looks like this. We've got Gina on 7, Monty and Jaxie on 9, and I am on 10. But I will say, Monty, this is a whole lot closer than last year, where you just tore ahead at this point.
Yeah, I just got beat you at WrestleMania. I don't really care what else happened.
Oh, fuck you. Anyway, so rating match and MVP. Jaxie, I'll start with you. Your match of the night was the Cody versus KO match. So what's your rating?
Cody versus KO.
What's rating out of 10? 10.
Rating out of 10 will be 8. And 8. I think MVP will go to Jey Uso for me.
Good choice. Gina?
The rating, my match was Kevin Owens and Cody as well. rating, I'll give it 7 3/4. And MVP, yeah, Jay.
Okay, and Monty?
Yeah, everything the same except I gave it an
8. So I give it an 8.5. Match Cody KO. MVP was Jay and Roxanne Perez. So the press conference, Jay was still celebrating. Biggie, like I said, very, very emotional. John Cena was at the press conference, and Jack says, you touched on earlier, he's basically saying, I'm going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I'm a 16-time world champion. I've done enough. I'm going to say I'm going to be in the chamber, which he is. It's going to be his next appearance. So, I mean,
no qualifying match now. Just so, yeah, again, if like he did not need to win the Rumble if he was just getting the easy access into elimination people, you know?
Yeah, but he deserves it. Cena, if anybody deserves a spot, it's John Cena.
No, and that's absolutely fine, but that's why I'm even more happy that he didn't win the Rumble.
Yeah, no, that's true. We see Jey Uso. He thinks winning a Stat Royal Rumble shows the company trusts him and he will not let him down. He wants another shot at Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship and feels he can dethrone him. Gina, I think that is the right direction, isn't it? But can Jey get the job done? That's the next question we're going to ask.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, can he get it done? I am going to be very positive and hopeful because I'm going to be positive for a lot this year and put my faith into it. But I think it is the best choice between the two, just because there's so many other ties that they're going to want to do for Cody, I think.
Charlotte Flair spoke about a torn ACL injury. It was inspired by the memory of her late brother. She confirmed it took her a little minute to enter the Rumble because of her robe. And she stated she heard the criticisms over her for the last few years, Jaxie. And Charlotte says she had a year off, but people are going to get tired of her because she's coming for all the gold. So that's good, Jax.
I mean, yeah, like she's the best at being like a heel. So like, you know, just do exactly what you guys tried to do. Like have her win the Royal Rumble, put gold on her all you want, just because she's a great heel and she's a great way to build baby faces. That is the only sort of positive I can give the situation. So there, you've had it from me.
And then we had Triple H. He, of course, third most successful show in WWE history out the past 2 WrestleMania nights. Shitload of merchandise. He was like, I'm printing fucking money. He talked about I Show Speed. He felt bad. He talked about his Hall of Fame induction as well. And discussing the winners, he said there were not a lot of people thought Jey was going to win. Charlotte might have been predictable, but that's what's good. Monty, again, we probably don't need a press conference or post-conference as it was. But Triple H just been like, look how good it is. And it's still as hot as it ever has been.
I mean, I was explaining to people. I mean, like, they just sold out. That's a football stadium that's meant for like 60, 70,000 people usually. So like, it's a lot of people in there. So of course he's gonna take his time. He's gonna gloat, and I don't really blame him. Like, it take like to fill those things up consistently, like they've been doing. It's a testament to how great everything is going right now. And yeah, I don't mind it. I did watch his vlog. He was genuinely telling everybody to make sure they check on Speed. So he was not lying about that. He was worried about him. Yeah, he was legit worried. So yeah, man, it was just I get it, but I'm with you. I don't really know the actual purpose of these press conferences at this point. But you know, when you get the insight that you get from Jay or even from Charlotte, kind of, because I think people forget that the only reason why Charlotte even wrestles is because out of the memory of her brother. So to get some of that insight and to you know, thinking about what she came back from, tearing your knee up, it was really cool to at least hear from them, because you don't really get a chance to hear from them in this blended character, like realistic type way that you get from these press conferences. So I get it from that point. But for the most part, it's just a bunch of extra yapping.
Well, the thing is, especially when Big E, Joe are kind of wrapping up the action, and you think the show started with kickoff, 7 hours previously. And again, you mentioned it earlier with the kind of American football coverage of, and everything like that going on beforehand. So I guess it's part and parcel. But again, if you haven't got the time, it is quite skippable, even though the post press conference are quite good. We're going to catch up with Raw and SmackDown notes on the Chamber, because there's going to be a lot to discuss. So we'll talk about the fallout then. One thing I do want to talk about with breaking news, as we had this week, was the WWE releases. So we will talk about that. There's breaking news at the moment with wrestlers going. I'm not sure about them, but we do know Sonya Deville's contract is set to expire, and the decision was not to renew it. Cedric Alexander has hit free agency in 90 days. Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering have been released, and also Blair Davenport with Isle at Dawn. Jaxie, start us off. It's a horrible time, and especially when it's people's kind of careers and dreams being ended in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, some of these decisions I do question, because I don't even think that Blair Davenport was really used on the main roster. She was called up. And it's like, how are you going to just go ahead and get rid of someone you've not even utilized or tried to use at this moment in time within your main roster after pulling them up? But again, this is very sort of reminiscent from previous sort of releases. It's sad to see Isla Dawn go. I think that's been the sort of, as a standout for me, the biggest sort of upset. I don't believe that her tag team partner were doing a bad job as is it Fire and Dawn? I'm really disappointed by this decision, really, with Isla Dawn. As I am with Sonya Deville. What? Like, she's kind of only just kind of made a comeback. Yeah, Pure Fusion Collection was not sort of working as a faction, but of all the women you've got on the roster, I did not see Sonya Deville being on that list. So there is a slight disappointment, because I don't feel like ever since she's even come back in a sort of wrestling sort of capacity compared to when she was GMing, I don't really think that she's been given a chance as of yet to really like make a singles run. So I just feel like both those decisions were really impromptu and just questionable. Along with a couple of the other, I wish all of the released wrestlers luck in other work in the next steps in their career and where they're going. Well, we'll see them next as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple more as well. Giovanna Vinci, we didn't really get a shot with Imperium, and of course the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, which might surprise a few considering AJ has only just returned. And as Jaxie said, makes you think how bad Sonya Deville was at the Rumble for W to make that decision.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Vinci, I actually think I put him in one of my predictions as being one of the ones to leave this year. So that one didn't surprise me as much. But the Good Brothers did surprise me, especially with AJ's return. I thought they would utilize the Good Brothers again now that AJ is back. So it's clear that wasn't the route. And yeah, I don't know who Sonya pissed off, but she obviously pissed someone off. And it's sad to see. It really is, because I do like Sonya and I do hope to see her again on a different promotion. And like my sister said, I wish all of the released wrestlers like luck in the next part of their stories,
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, we're hearing about Elektra Lopez, but it's not been confirmed. But Monty, again, the good thing at the moment, I say good thing, is how kind of hot wrestling is, and the amount of companies like Jaxie and Gina said that these guys could potentially go to.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing about it when you get these cuts these days, whether it's because of budget or whatever reason. The thing is, you're always kind of worried when you bring in new crops of talent, whether it's like bringing in a Jordan Grace or even some of the NXT people who possibly could be getting called up sooner than later. There's always a chance that some of the people who, even whether they're on TV or whether they're not been on TV consistently, it's always a chance that you could be seeing them, get cut. And it's really, really disappointing in a lot of cases, because you can see potential, or you know that they wasn't really given the best of opportunities or a fair shake. I mean, the last match Blair had was like their qualifying triple threat match. I think with Bianca and I want to say Chelsea was in it too. Either way it goes, it was a good match. I remember that, and it just kind of sucks that
yeah, gee, that was a good match for
right. It was
the
a good
US title qualifier, wasn't it? Yeah,
right.
all three of them had such a great match that match. They all were like evenly paced. I'm a little bit disappointed that that's all we got.
Yeah, I mean, like she only scratched the surface. I heard there was rumors that she was possibly joining Chelsea's like Secret Service, but they dropped that. And I also remember that when
That
she
would have
was
been
with
fun.
I also know that she had a chance to be with Alba Fire and Isla Dunn, and they did that little thing just for the 6-woman match. They did, and the next thing you know, they couldn't get booked again. So it just sucked that how inconsistent it was, and and especially when we talk about SmackDown. I mean, we mentioned SmackDown has like a problem where it hasn't been the most interesting, and then you start kind of gutting these women's divisions that we thought you were making these mid-card titles or making. Hopefully, you was focusing on the tag team titles more, but it seems like we're getting more of what we become used to.
You gave us an extra hour for SmackDown, but then like take away a lot more wrestlers that you could have stories with.
Yeah, exactly. So some of it makes sense to me. Like at this point, I don't think we're gonna see AOP in WWE anymore, James. Like this.
No, I think that's
the second time
yeah.
they're on the cutting board. Yeah. If I was them, I probably wouldn't even try to come back. Like it's just, yeah, man, we've done this. It's over. And that kind of sucks for like the faction part of what Cross had going on. But to be fair, Cross was shining, and he seemed like he was already rolling by himself to an extent anyway lately. So I'm not really that shocked by that. Sonya, I can argue. Like I think she, on one hand, it kind of sucks because she did only return, so you would like her to get a chance to get things back under her belt. But if you just look at her entire career, like promos and character wise, I remember her, but like they never really gave her a lot of wrestling opportunities. So how are you going to improve? Like, James, you know this, the only way to get better or to actually do this is to do it. So it kind of sucks for her in that sense. And the Pure Fusion Collective wasn't working, but I can't necessarily say it's all on Sonya why they weren't working. But she did have some not so good showings against Lyra or against an EO, people that they respect in the ring. So maybe that's part of why they're not renewing. But yeah, Isla, I was completely shocked with. The Good Brothers, James, come on, man. Like at this point,
fuck the Good Brothers.
At this point,
they ruined TNA for 2 years of Impact. I just don't like them.
But I also want to caution people because I love Sid too, and I would love to see what Sid does. You got to catch yourself as a wrestling fan right now. Give these people time. Don't be up here tagging them in your fantasy booking scenarios and your favorite companies. Like they did just lose their job. Like give people time. Like they are humans, and sometimes you got to take some time away to really reset and get yourself together. But we'll see. I think Sid is going to be excellent wherever he go because Sid is just been underrated in the ring for so damn long. So if he decides to go to AEW or if he takes it to Japan or whatever he decides to do. Same thing with Blair. Blair's already kind of mentioned that she might be going back to Stardom. I love it. She was a killer over there. So, why not go back where you kind of made your name as B. Priestley? And we'll be keeping our eyes on all these people. I think Isla's going to be fine too. She could go to AEW or anywhere else and be perfectly fine. So, like you mentioned, James, it's not over. It's just one of those things where it might be over, for WWE for now for some of these people.
Yeah, one door closes, another one opens, But that is it. Like I said, our next stop will be Elimination Chamber, but we'll catch up with everything in between then. So don't forget, we're across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner even. Also now on Blue Sky, WNR Podcast, and Reddit. Jackson, where can people find and follow you?
I'm across X, Instagram, and Twitch at Jackson Scarlett.
Perfect. Monty?
At my Monty Pod, I tweet every now and then.
And Gina?
You can find me at Purple Pain.
We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com. and YouTube. The WNR podcast are doing a lot on YouTube at the moment. So just go over there and see it. There's 2K clips and podcasts going up there, and all the other clips from shows. You can see Gina and you see Jaxie screaming about Okada. You can see me screaming about McIntyre and everything like that there. Like I said, the podcast can go up on YouTube, same time as they do on SoundCloud, on your phone, and Spotify and iTunes, making download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is NXT Update, because how quickly has that come around, Monty? I swear we only did it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, man, just the world keeps turning, man. The world keeps turning. So you never know. And I almost too until I think Michael Cole mentioned it. It was like, oh yeah, and Roxanne and Julia is gonna be. I was like, oh damn, that is soon, right?
Well, afterwards we've got AEW and of course his Chamber and everything else in between as well. But till then, James Rowlands was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Well done, Jaxie. Your performance today wasn't awful. All right.
Gee, thanks.
Hey.
We'll see how it goes, but not a bad start to the beginning of the year. So we'll see how we get on.
Yeah, and of course the mind of Monty. And Monty, like you said, all you care about is beating me at WrestleMania, which won't happen.
I'm studying, man. It's gonna be a 2-day show. I'm gonna get you. I promise. If I don't get you, then I'm the rest of the year on predictions. I might just be ridiculous. We'll see. I might just lose bad. Like I won big last year. I'm gonna lose bad this year.
And of course the genius of Gina. And Gina, it proved during the Rumble, your G site is slowly and surely coming back.
Yeah, I definitely think that I'm slowly draining Monty of the G site and getting it back for myself. So let's hope, this continues on into the Chamber.
Without a doubt. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.